Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all them good things to everyone out there, ladies and gents. All of you suspects out there, usual suspects. Hope everybody's doing well. It's good to be back. As you can see there, I was putting on the screen trying to see if Jean would join us. He was having issues with Skype. He may or may not be on with us. I'd love to have him on just to get his perspective on some of the things we talked about and some of the videos we've done and some of his work, of course. So let me just check my audio. Oh, yeah, we're working good here. What's happening, everyone? Good to see everybody here. Let me see here. I'll make sure we got our settings correct. Oh, yeah, it's always fun. Let's see. Jay McGuffey's in there. Roll call. Renee Cruz in there. Phil C's in there. Renee Cruz again. Good to see you in there. Let's see. Sparkus Aurelius. I guess I'm pronouncing that correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. Dean Brazil is in there. What's going on, Dean? Good to have you in there. Gil Nordell, a greeting from the Live Free or Die, which is the New Hampshire state, if I'm not mistaken. Phil C., like I said, what's going on? OG Truth 2, hello to you all. What's going on? Good to have you in there. Kish is in there. Always just put it short. Says hello all. Good to see you in there. Let's see. Scott Duffy, what's happening? Good to see you in there, brother. Janice Mikolas, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I hope so. Pete's in there. What's going on, Pete? Say hello, Chris, and everyone in the chat from Buffalo, New York. Let's see. Let's see. There I am. Let's see here. What's going on, Mimi? Good to see you in there. Martin Wolf's in there. Evening to you there, Martin. David Williams is there. He says evening all. Let's move my mic here. Oh, let's see. He said it's beautiful in Buffalo. It's 69 degrees. Yeah, we're actually cooler here. We're supposed to be, it's still 89 with a heat index of 93 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's supposed to cool off, I think, tomorrow. I think it's supposed to be like, he's almost there. He's saying he's getting his stuff set up here. You can see it there. Hopefully we can just pop him on there. That'd be great. What's going on, Elaine? You said, hi, I've got to get supper. I've just finished watching 5 hours of COVID-19 oh, yeah, nice. Okay, around, just in case white. Oh, okay. I got you, Elaine. Okay. Let's see. Adam the Martian's in there. What's going on, Adam? Good to see you in there. We'll be listening from the kitchen. Well, if you cook anything good, dear Elaine, just go ahead and pass it through the screen here. I'm getting hungry here. Let me see. This thing jumped on me. I love that. Let's see. Oh. Kenneth says, I don't want to believe. I want to know. Well, that's true. Let's find the truth if we can, right? Mimi Rex says, I found out there is a pyramid in Japan, and not far from it is a stone circle. This is very intriguing. Yeah, this is all over the planet, right? MG Toe, what's happening? Yo, all says. Good to have you in the MG. Mars, the second Genesis, what's going on? You say, hi, Chris. I hope you're doing well. I am. I hope you're doing well as well. Erico Dion Big Leon, what's happening? He said, whoop. What's happening? Cameron, how you doing, brother? Good to see you in there. John Beck is in there. What's going on, John? Let me see. Pat Morris is in there. Said hello, Chris, and everyone from southeast Nebraska. How is it over in Nebraska? Is it all right now? Right now, is it pretty warm for you guys over there? Rock Hits, what's happening? Good to see you in there. Mags K, good to see you in there as well. Janice Mikolas says, I wonder what the ones who really know about the things on the moon, Mars, and asteroids think about finding the ruins of advanced tech not from Earth. Are they scared? And that's why they hide evidence. No, I don't know if it's that or they just simply, it's all about the tech and they just don't want to, well, the average person, right? People like us, just civilians, not to know. It's as simple as that, right? Because whatever it is that they're finding, you can bet it's high tech. Can you imagine, like we were talking about before, where they find like 0-point energy and all kinds of crazy things that we can use here that would solve the world's problems. But how many jobs would that put people out of? Oil industry, OPEC countries, so on and so forth. What would that do? Because you can bet you can incorporate that into our transportation. So what would that be like for many jobs in huge companies around the world? It's a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry every year. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's kind of like, and not to mention it is high tech, and maybe some of it would scare the average person. Maybe people like myself, I'd be intrigued. I'd be like, tell me more, right? Mags K, thank you very much for your support. It is appreciated. Thank you very much. Much love to you. And you said, hi, Chris, and Hangout, happy Friday all. Yes, it is good. It's all good. He said, Chris, love your post. You work so hard. So Jimmy Roberts back in the game. Yep. But you're number one. Well, I appreciate that, Mags. I really do. Yeah, he's got a new channel out, too, and I don't recall it off the top of my head, but I will drop it in in fact, I could probably find it here. Because he told me there on Facebook there that he's got a new channel there. Let me see if I can find him there. Okay. It's called World of UFOs Official. So if you look that up, World of UFOs Official, and of course use the filter to select it and put channel. He's now has that channel, so you can go there and jump over there and sub to that. Really, really cool. So, and I said, sweet, just subbed. You know, and it's cool the way he's doing the channel too. He's just starting off. I think he's only got the one. It's just a pilot video. So he's well, if you want to call it live kind of thing, but it's still a video as far as I'm concerned. And it's good that he's like taking different paths. So I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's awesome. But yes, he's still in there doing his thing. Hudson Krause, how you been? Good to see you in there. Eric Bauer, what's happening? Say hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Ricardo Petrazzi, what's happening? Good to see you in there, man. Scratch is in there. How you doing, Scratch? Let me see. Les Sweet's in there. What's going on there, Les? Limey Watcher's in there. Lionheart Glassworks, what's going on? I like the big old smiley emoji. Mike Hoover, what's happening? He said, what's up, Chris, brother? Not much, Mike. I hope you're doing good, man. Hope you're doing good. Yep, Max K worked of UFOs. Oh, yeah. Claire Mead, thank you. You said, hope you had a good holiday, Chris. Yeah, I had a great vacation. You just need a break from the norm. And it's not here that's the issue. It's the job. Everybody knows that, right? You're like, you look forward to your vacations, right? And, so I said, listen, it's just sitting home. A staycation is more than enough. It's a vacation. Because at some point, if you don't take a vacation, your head will basically blow off your body. So, yeah, you definitely need to be able to take some time off with the fam, go out and do some things, whatever it may be. And we had a week down in Florida and right by the ocean and everything else. And really, really nice. So, yeah, and many of you said, I hope you're having a great time. You deserve it, and I do appreciate every one of you for saying that. This is great. Again, I got a great bunch of people here. But like I said, everybody deserves some time off. I don't care if it's a leisure job and you just, you say, well, it's a good job for me, but everybody needs to be able to get away at some point, right? And so, yeah, it was good. Definitely good. Pete Ferrari said, watched a documentary on secret space program that involves the entire world since the 1950s. We don't know 1% of really what's going on. And I totally agree with you. I think so much is hidden. And here's the thing. When you try to bring like the work that we're doing and other channels are doing, they kind of look at you like weird. You know why? Because it's not the mainstream. That's the crazy part. It's not the mainstream at all. It's kind of like the, it's just like, it's like taboo to talk about it. But I think it needs to be introduced more and more into the news so that other people who are scrutinizing these other space agencies or these space agencies around the world start scrutinizing them more, don't you think? How many times you guys, and I've seen this, I've heard you echo it 100 times saying, this is frustrating, it's infuriating because I like what I'm seeing, or at least just a tidbit of what we're seeing in these photos, and I would love to see everything in the photo, and that's true. And these guys are not being crucified for it, for lying to the public, and I totally agree with you guys. Let's see. Maybe you said in Germany we call a vacation home a balconian, and whatever vacation on your balcony. That's good. I like that. And well, and that's the thing. It's if you just staycation, it's just to me a staycation is obviously you stay home or in the state and just do local stuff, right? Ricardo, you said staycation is in your state or is your state? Would be a fab vacation for me. Florida's nice, but too hot for me. It is, but it isn't. Like I said, we get the normal temperatures like they get. The only difference with them is that they have, almost year round. Now they do have some areas, some times during February and March, you might have like a week of a lot cooler weather, maybe 38 in the morning, and then boom, it rebounds back up and it's like 80s again. So in some aspect, it's kind of, yeah, I mean, if it's too hot, if it's something you can't stand, the heat, yeah, I can understand. But to me, I didn't have any problem. I mean, it's that time of year that almost every day there's it's like you can almost count on it that there's going to be heavy showers and thunderstorms, right? And we were on the beach and stuff like that. You could see the storm coming from a mile away because the inlet that we were at is a bunch of we're on the docks and stuff like that, and where all of the boats are and stuff like that. And you can see the inlet where we're at, and you can see right out into the ocean. And you can literally see that coming in. And you can see the storm. It's like, oh, time to go. So, and, when we were driving away, probably about 5 minutes out of there, that we ran into the rain and heavy downpours. And I'm so used to it, it doesn't bother me anyway. I worry more about the other drivers than myself because I've driven in every kind of weather. Snowstorms, it didn't matter. So, But what's going on there, Jean? Good to see you in there. Did you ever get it straightened out? Because I could still pop you in there if you could. We just I figured I'd have you jump in there and we can talk about different topics, including your latest video. Basically, I think it was blown to pieces kind of structure you found, megalithic structures. That was awesome. So yeah, love to have you on there. Paul Liversige. And he said, Paul from UK, great to have you back, buddy. Well, I appreciate it, Paul. Glad to be back. Scourge 1971 says, I would love to see us land a rover near one of the monoliths on the moon, Mars, Phobos, Deimos, or Mercury. Take your pick. Well, here's the thing. I mean, we've seen many of these structures that the Apollo astronauts were right there. And of course, they're trying to hide these things in plain sight. But you can see parts laying all over the place. You can see these, what look like giant machines or structures of some sort that they're literally hiding in these photos. So you know as well as I do that they're literally hiding this stuff, right? And the funny thing about it was, trying to remember, I don't know how many times I've heard this, like on the Mars photos, people are like, why don't these darn things, these rovers, go over to these? You can bet that they have. I mean, they literally landed down in what is like basically a ruined city, and maybe not all completely in ruins, but they landed down there specifically for that reason. So, so as far as I'm concerned, they know everything that's going on the moon, on Mars. You can, they just know what's going on. You can bet on it. So. Dennis Baxter, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. He said, I'm not sure about the UFO disclosure of late. Do world governments really disclose anything? No, they kind of jerk you around, don't they? They kind of like beat around the bush, like the last one. We're not sure if it's ours. It's, it could be somewhere else. We're just not sure. So the latest one, they never told us anything, right? It was just a bunch of crap. It was a runaround. And that's the problem with it. So you basically have to find this stuff in these photos yourself, and do your own research because they're not going to tell you anything. unless there's a disgruntled country, like I said, and they just turn around and they just blurt it out. Maybe they've been here. Maybe they've been to Mars or the moon themselves, and suddenly there's a war with us or them or whatever it may be, and they just let the cat out of the bag. Who knows? What's going on there, Third Eye Open? Good to see you in there. Okay, Jean, you said, hi, Chris. I'm trying to get the Skype fixed. No luck yet. I'll let you know once it's 100%. Okay, no problem. If not, we'll catch you next time, Steve Wagner, what's happening? He said, top of the evening to you, Chris. Well, top of the evening to you, Steve. Good to see you in there. Metalhead, what's happening? He said, I have better UFO video from my phone than what the government... You know what? Sadly, you're right. Then he said, than what the government gave us. It's sad because, and I've said this already. How long ago did I say this? If you cannot show me a crystal clear photo of a UFO, I'm not going to believe it. I don't want to see filtered photos like, infrared, night vision. I don't want to see any of that garbage. I want to see a true to life UFO hovering over these warships in these different places. I want to see the real deal. Not just fake garbage, right? Until then, I won't believe it. Now, I do believe that there are other, species out there. I believe there's other, civilizations living out there. 100%. Now, can I vet that? No. But judging by what we've seen on the moon and on Mars and other places that they're hiding and blurring out, certain things, it pretty much points to that, right? That's the way I look at it. What's going on there, Phil Cox? He said, Phil Cox with daughters Jessica and Kelsey Brown. He said, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all well. We are doing well, Phil. I hope you and the family are doing well as well, right? I don't know why that was actually screened, but okay. What's going on there, Miss Haird? Good to see you in there. Jay McGuffey, you said that mad Alaskan earthquake with no tsunami. Really? I'm surprised. Usually, of course, it depends on the part of the land that it's in, right? If it's just right off the coast, then there's a good chance you'll have a tsunami. I'm not familiar that it just happened. Was that today? Was that today, Jay, or was it yesterday or the other day? Yep. If you guys are in there, haven't hit the thumbs up, please do so. It's always appreciated. You guys know that. Jay McGuffey said, taking the Irish twang into account, whacked or waxed. Either way, very bizarre. True, very true. Let's see. All right. What is this? Mark Lewis, what's happening? He said, good evening, everyone. Wales, UK here. Hope you're all having a great day. We are, Mark. I hope you're doing well over there in Wales. Hope the weather's good for you guys. You're just chilling and illing, having a good time out there. Lee Herring, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I don't think I've seen him jump in there. So just now. David Pierce, you said Alaskan earthquake, 8.2, 2 days ago. Good Lord. That's a big earthquake. Whew. That's a good-sized earthquake. So I don't know if you guys have heard this recently, but they were talking about Travis Walton. You guys hear about that? Where they said it's probably a hoax now. I was just watching Richie over in Goof On. He had a video out, I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago. I like him. He's pretty cool. And, he was talking about that and had this guy, it was Mike Rogers, the one that was supposed to be with, I guess they were talking on the phone and stuff like that. And they're talking about, how they hoaxed this thing and all that kind of crazy stuff. I was like, what? Are you serious right now? So I was actually blown away by that because if you listen to the conversation, they said, well, he passed the actual lie detector test. How is this possible? So he says, well, they only asked him one question about the UFO. Like, were you abducted by a UFO? He probably said yes. And so did Mike. Now, Mike was the driver, if I'm not mistaken, where I think it was him, Travis, and I think it may have been his brother. The three of them were in the truck and, so on and so forth. And then Mike goes into talking about, I don't know if it was, I'm trying to remember if it was, no, it wasn't Mike either. Hold on, let's see. In fact, I think I still have this up right here. And he's talking Mike Rogers to Ryan Gordon, recorded April 30th. And I was just watching this here. And a really, really interesting video and just a phone call. But if you see this right here, you see this in the background, this tower. Now, supposedly, as far as the light coming down and freaking everybody out and they left, there was supposedly, the way he worded it was like there was a guy already up there. And what they did was the spotlight that's on that tower, they can change the lens to like green, red, blue, whatever. And what happened was they actually put it down like a blue light, had the lens on there, made it look like an actual abduction. The other two fled, and of course he was still there, supposedly had gotten abducted. It's just crazy. You have to go in there and actually watch this interview. It starts right around 50 minutes where they start talking about this phone call. And you can see it right here, and I'll give you the link if you guys don't, grab this now. But Travis Walton, it was a hoax? ? How can he have pulled it off? And then Scott Brown explains it. That Scott is the one who's on the phone with him, or through Skype rather, and they're talking about it. And very, very interesting. And it kind of like let me down. I'm like, man, I thought that was the real deal. Come to find out, it was not. And when you listen to what he's telling you, he answers all the questions about how it went step by step and how they did this. Because it was right after the Benny and Barney Hill, when they were abducted, I think it was by aliens in 1961. And I think there's some kind of tabloid photo or some kind of news channel said something like, if you guys can come forward, if anyone can come forward with, like a real life abduction or sighting. So they supposedly had all planned this, which I thought was really bizarre. But yeah, talk about a huge letdown. I was like totally disappointed. But, from what I understood, I thought it was the real deal. But I don't know. Metalhead, you're saying it's BS, Travis is for real. I want to believe the same thing. I mean, who knows that they're not trying to cover that up and saying, oh, yeah, it was a hoax. Because how many times have we heard that? Where, oh, yeah, this UFO and this, that, and the other. And then, oh, well, no, it was nothing. Kind of like, in Roswell. Oh, no, it was just a balloon or some kind of crap. So is it the government's way of covering this up and basically making them look like crap, and basically, but this gentleman, Scott Brown, had was telling Richie that him and his wife had caught crap for like a week, this last week that just passed, and because everything from the production, I think it was a production team that was going to make a new video of Fire in the Sky, they basically blasted them. So I don't know. I still believe that it's true, but at this point, you know what I mean? It kind of puts a little bit of a wrench in the gear, so to speak. You're trying to is it 100% crap or is it 100% real? So now they're putting the doubt in your mind that it may not be real. I still believe that it is. But from what I understand, if you think about this, if they put any one of you on the, on the lie detector test, they only asked you one question about a UFO. They said, so you were abducted by a UFO? Yes. And they never asked any other questions about it. Like, so what was it like when you went up there? This, that, and the other. Okay, was it, what were the aliens like? So on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. And if you failed more than one of those, then obviously you would have just failed the whole test. But from what he was saying, it was just like, no, it It was just one question he's asked. And now I can see you, a lot of you, like Metalhead, you saying, think about this 40 years of consistent story. And that's exactly what I thought. I'm saying, I don't know if this is all fake, guys. I think this might have been just a bunch of crap. But he actually had, I don't know if you've seen it, Metalhead, this particular one with Scott, but they actually show, and you can hear the phone call where they're saying, like, what are we going to do? And they were trying to plan this and everything else right on the phone. So, I don't know. I believe Travis as well, Rock Hits. I do. But you see how that works? They're always trying to, just like either, defame these people or whatever. Some people will say, well, no, he did it all for the money and everything. I go, if it really happened to him, why would you? It's not something you're going to fake. You're going to come out and say, this is what happened to me, and that's the end of it. Now, if people, these news channels take you on, or these other big, interviewers take you on, and you earn money through that, then so be it. But that's not the main reason I'm sure he's come forth. You know what I mean? Forward with it. So, yeah. John, you said no luck with Skype. I'll need a physical flip to get the image to right. Really? You should be. Well, go into your actual software for the camera. John, that's what I could do that with mine. You can't do it with Skype. Just go into your actual software with it. Paul, you said, talking of hoax stories, Chris, what's your whole take on Andrew Basiago? I met Andrew, okay? He seems genuine. The only thing I had a problem fathoming is that when they were talking about William White Crow, which is also with him, and, God rest his soul, it's kind of like trying to wrap your head around the idea, because he was saying that once they were on the surface, they literally had to have servicemen come with them, like military, and try to shoot down these things like dinosaurs and stuff like that, these weird kind of Martian dinosaurs, if you will, that were trying to eat them on different occasions. So I kind of was like, what? So, but that doesn't mean it's not real. Like I had, when I first started doing these videos and looking carefully into these photos and how they were manipulated, I had a problem wrapping my mind around it, because I was always taught that there's nothing there to see. So right off the bat, you'd say, okay, it's a dead planet. There's no way these things could be on there. So I had a really rough time trying to wrap my head around this thing. But then eventually, you know what I mean? It was just like, okay, So, and so that may be the issue with me trying to get my head wrapped around that, because I'm thinking dinosaur, huh? Because he said there'd be things that'd be over there that just want to eat you. I'm saying, okay, well, wouldn't they have killed themselves off if there was nothing else to eat, if they are truly meat eaters? And if they're carnivores, then clearly they would have ate each other off, you know what I mean? So I don't know. But it may be because it's just the issue trying to get your mind wrapped around it, right? Pete Ferreri said, I also seen a theory that the moon was an ark placed at Earth to make the planet more inhabitable for a high-technology civilization displaced from home planet. Yeah, I heard that too. Like it was actually brought here because, again, the ancients talk about a time when there was no moon, a time before the moon, right? And then it was actually brought here because it's not just going to just poof, just right into existence, right? So they said that at some point it was actually moved here. So I think that's interesting. And from what we've seen on the moon, there's tons of stuff on the moon as far as what look like dilapidated buildings or just spacecraft kind of leaning on their sides and just weird things in these photos. So that alone, tells me, yeah, we're part of something much larger. And, I was also, I gave a shout out, or at least, my buddy Billy Carson, he was on vacation. I believe he was in Greece at the time. In fact, it was last week as well. He had just gotten back. And I was like, dude, I said, get in touch with me when you get a chance, because I can fill in the gap whether these UFOs are real or not. All we got to do is show what's going on Mars and the moon, guys. There's the fill-in. There's the empty, there's the missing link, so to speak. Because how do you, say, well, we're not sure if UFOs are real or not. If what's on Mars and on the moon is not ours, doesn't that pretty much answer the question? At some point? These people had their own transportation. Let's say Mars didn't, and they weren't even a spacefaring, civilization. Okay, who got to the moon? How did they get back and forth? Because it wasn't a planet where you could live on with water and vegetation, although it looks like there's vegetation on there in some of them areas. But regardless of the fact, I mean, you're just like, how did they come and go? At some point, there had to be UFOs. And if it's long and they've been there for thousands of years, then clearly there's another civilization out there. At least one we know, right? So, I don't know. Okay, let's see. This thing just jumped on me here. Here we go. You're talking. Matt Patterson, you said, sorry to say, but I believe anything after. I think you meant don't believe anything. Seeing it with my own eyes. But if UFOs are real, then time travel must be real. It depends, right? If it's interdimensionally or, or they are in fact from another, solar system or whatever. It depends on if they can fly at incredible speeds, depending on the propulsion. I think anything's possible. Now, as far as coming from the other end of the universe, yeah, I mean, it'd have to be like, they must be wormholing it and everything else to be able to get here, because there's just no way around that, right? Peter Petrelli, what's going on? He says, hey, Chris, howdy, gang. Let's see. Well, yeah, Miss here, and that's the story I've always heard. You said Travis Walton was not by himself the night he was abducted. His co-workers witnessed him approaching the UFO and being zapped to the ground. Well, the funny thing about it is the way this gentleman here, Scott, talks about this is that, they had to have another person up in this tower in order to hit that with the light and hit them with the light. And it come to find out that this person that was in there was actually military. But I'm going, okay, so let me get this right. So what would be the purpose of this? Are they just trying to stage these things for no reason? What is the point? What is the motive behind saying, oh, we're gonna invent an actual abduction? What is the point in that? It simply makes no sense, right? What's going on there, Juxta Billy? Good to see you in there. He said, greetings all and good vibrations to everyone. Steve Gautam, you said, where did Travis go? He was missing for a few days. Not sure. He said that, he said somehow he, like I said, he vanished. But what they did say, he was supposed to be 5 days that he was gone. And they said, you know where he was at? In that tower. And they go into details about they said, well, why didn't they get, dogs, sniffing the area and stuff like that? And they had a reason for that as well. It's just like everything was answered that was supposedly he had said that had come true. They answered it and said, no, it's totally BS. Now, I still believe that the actual abduction was real, especially if there was some kind of military guy involved. So are they trying to say now, oh, no, it was just pure BS, and that, they're just trying to cover the story? But for what reason now? I mean, it's been out for how many years? Like you said, about 40 years? Yeah, that's kind of weird. So I don't know why they would go about doing that. Makes no sense. Okay. Let me see. Janus Mikolos, he said, I think that the ancient apocalypse legends in religions refer to the war that left Mars dead. An ark could carry life in embryonic form and colonize a new planet, Earth. That's true. And that's what we always heard, right? Heard is that was the, of course, Mars, of course, is the planet of God of war or what have you there. Of course, other ancient civilizations call it other. But they also talked about wars on the moon, wars on Mars, and it kind of makes sense if that makes, when you think about it, this is the way I look at it. When you read those, at first you go, not sure if I believe all that. But then when you go back and you see what's on the moon, and you see things that are like laying on their side, you see structures that might have been damaged, and you see what you're seeing on Mars, putting the pieces together, right? Puzzle pieces, it all kind of backs it up, kind of confirms it a little bit, right? This here, you said, true, no point in all of them making up in the abduction of Travis. One of them by now would have let the cat out of the bag. Well, like I said, they actually talked to, it was Mike, which is obviously the driver of the truck, was talking to the guy Ryan Gordon, and they were talking about this on the phone and saying, they're making this stuff up and how he's talking about how Travis wanted to make this up and all this other crap. So, I don't know. It's like every time you know something's solid and you know for a fact it's probably pretty much solid, let's call it 90% because there's no way for any of us personally to vet it, right? But you know as well as I do, you go, okay, that seems feasible. All of the things surrounding the story seem legit, and all of a sudden, somebody's got to put a stick right in the spokes. So you know as well as I do, you go, is it a cover-up on the military's part to make it look like crap? Like somebody was just saying about Stephen Greer, which reminded me, what did they do to him? I worked here, and here. No, you didn't. They pretty much erased his personal information. You couldn't even use his social security. So we don't even know who you are. You don't even have a social. Who are you? You know what I mean? So yeah, doesn't make sense. I see this BS is going down here again about the watching numbers. Look at the numbers, guys. Where this thing's been up to 140. Now it goes back to 123. Then it's 120. Then it's 126. Then it's back down to 119. Then it's back up. It's all over the place. Here we go again. Mr. 7 Digit, what's going on? He said, I think our ancestors engaged in these ancient wars and were able to look up and view it themselves. I think plenty of megalithic structures show this evidence too. And I think you're right. I mean, like I said, if you look at the Indian text, the ancient text there, like I said, the books, I like the Mahabharata, where they talk about, these great, cities that are fighting in the sky, talking about, like I said, weapons that are brighter than the sun. Again, were they sci-fi writers back then? I'm not so sure about that. I don't know. I think they found it urgent to talk about it because back then that would be something to talk about. Picture that happening today. There's like two civilizations that got their own spaceships and they just happen to meet up near Earth, and next they're firing up way up in the skies and they're just like blowing each other to pieces. You'll be like, what is that? I mean, clearly you'd be freaked out, right? And you definitely got to write about it. There's no doubt about it. Mike Hoover said, panspermia. Meteors carrying carbon and amino acids, the building blocks of life. H2O, perfect cocktail. Absolutely. And I'm a firm believer in panspermia as well. See, here's the weird thing. You made a great point when you're talking about meteors. Here's the thing. Meteors, comets. They found, wasn't 67P, what was that other one? Where they found carbon, basically carbon, or, I'm trying to think here. There was something else too. Basically found organic matter on some of these. So if that's true, get bits and pieces of things broken off and they go to different planets. Couldn't that not start life on other planets? So even if you were to believe, okay, I just believe in plant life in other planets, I'd go with that. But the way they make it sound like scientists tell you, what do they tell you? Oh, there's no life anywhere. It's just strictly here on Earth. I don't believe that. We're all carbon life forms. Everything on this planet is carbon-based. So if you have these rocks flying out and hurtling through space, and we do go by the theory of panspermia, no doubt in my mind that it's crashed into other planets, these different rocks, and started life there. If life didn't already start by itself through amino acids and so on and so forth. So I believe that there's definitely life out there, even if it's organics or microbial. Doesn't even have to be organic. It could be just microbial, right? So there's no way somebody's going to tell me that's the only place with life here. No. And I'm not just talking about, like I said, it doesn't have to be a civilization like intelligent. There's at least plant life somewhere. And if there's plant life, not always the case, but you can bet there's some kind of microbial life, something feeding off of it, macro life, insects, other things creeping on the ground. You can almost absolutely guarantee it. What are you guys' thoughts? Do you think that's true, or do you have different ideas about that? Metalhead, you said apparently this guy is jealous of Travis's success, and that could very well be. I thought about that as well, right? It just always seems that there's always somebody getting totally butthurt over something. Oh, he's making more money than me, and he's doing this, and and then of course they pass the buck, and they want to make them look like trash and all this other stuff, and defame them and everything else, and it's like, just go about your own life. I mean, come on. It's crazy how they do this stuff. And here's the weird thing, but after 40 years roughly, I mean, what is going on? What is the point now? But you know how that goes. Hey, there he is. What's going on there, Goofon? What's going on, Richie? We were just talking about, you can see I got up here, we were talking about what you were talking about on the show. Great show, by the way. I really enjoyed it. You can see where I got up to here, and there's 58 minutes in there, and we were checking this out. Awesome stuff. But we're still trying to figure this out, trying to make heads or tails out of it. If it's somebody just trying to brush this under the carpet, or what's going on. What's your take on it, Richie? Cloudy with a chance of UFOs. I've actually seen him on there too. Awesome. Sometimes people lie. Hard to accept after all these years and believe, but secrets get kept. Just like the whole UFO subject we all love. They lie and lie. Yeah, absolutely, man. And I see this all the time. It's like the things that should be out in the news, they're not there, right? And like I said, the government's not going to be any kind of help. Right off the bat, they're just like, we think it's maybe, like as we were talking about the Tic Tac UFOs and how the Pentagon's going to release this information. And what do? Give you the runaround. They didn't tell you anything new than they did the last time. It's a bunch of horseshit. And because that's what it comes down to. They don't want to come out with the actual truth. Now, whether they think people are going to freak out or not, I highly doubt that. I think after this has been talked about so much and the UFO has been brought out, it gave people time to think anyway, gee, how would I react to a UFO? People would be like, oh, that's weird. Look at that in the sky. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, if it was over your house and it was just lingering there, you probably will brown yourself. You may have an issue with that. But to me, I just go, I'd be fascinated by it. Now when you think about Travis Walton, I don't think I'd be fascinated by that situation if this is in fact true. So I still believe that it is. Now, from what Richie was bringing up in his show, not so much. I mean, at least for the recordings, they seem to. You said, yeah, Rich, you believe he was abducted. And I still maintain that as well. And a lot of people here still maintain that. Do you believe, Richie, that this was a way to cover up his story, to defame him? Or what do you think is the story? What do you think is going on behind this? I think that they're trying to defame him. I think they're just, I don't know why after 40 years, it makes no sense to me, but I think it's a bunch of crap. And if I remember correctly, you said something about they were it was in the making of a new Fire in the Sky, which I actually enjoyed the very original one. Now, if you go by those movies back then, I think people would be frightened of UFOs. And it seems like every time a movie comes out, like Independence Day, it's no wonder why people would freak out. Why don't they ever show like good movies like Contact, like with Jodie Foster, where you can see where she finally goes through these wormholes, meets with these aliens. Of course, they show up in the form of being her dad, and that they say, we've been doing this for millions of years. You guys are just not ready yet, but when you are, blah, 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 blah. So they were actually friendly. They weren't evil. Why don't they make more movies like that? It's like they want to keep the frightening part in everybody's mind in case these UFOs are in fact real. What's the point? It's a bunch of crap. It says message retracted for Goofon. Let's see. Not sure why I said that, but okay. Might want to rewrite that there, Richie, if you can. IR Film, what's happening? Good to see you in there. Yeah, Janice, it was a good movie, right? You said, I love Contact, a great movie. Yeah, I think it was very well thought out. And being like, I'm a ham radio nut and, into radio and stuff like that, I love the younger Jody was on the radio. CQDX. Really, really good movie, so I had an interest in it right off the bat. And I just love everything that's got to do with sci-fi. And I think some of this might be spun off from actual events. Of course, we don't know that for sure, but you know what I'm saying, right? Matthew Luce, I think it is. I believe there is life on most planets myself. Not sure about gaseous giants or the sun. Well, to me, I have always said this, gaseous giants. What's keeping the gaseous or their form together? There has to be a core at some point, right? Even if it's not as we see. It's just a core and nothing more. In other words, you don't have your mantle, your crust, and everything else. You just have just this core holding this gaseous planet together. So what if you were able to build something on this core, and it doesn't matter if it's gaseous because you can basically put your own atmospherics inside this dome or underground or burrow into this. How do you know? A lot of people say, oh, you can never live on that planet. That doesn't mean you can't. It's, to me, it makes sense that, you could easily build a dome, have your own atmospherics, produce your own oxygen, as long as you got water, right? It's the same thing you kind of do in your own car on a very, very tiny scale. Very hot out, AC. You also have filters that filter out garbage that's coming into your car. Very cold out, you've got heat. Somehow you can, you know what I mean? So maybe they found a way to produce oxygen or whatever they breathe. Might be half and half for all we know. Might be a certain mixture. People automatically say, well, people can never live on that, so that's garbage. No, you can't throw that idea out because we don't know if these are the same life forms or the same bio as we are. We just have no idea, right? Oh, so you believe it's a stretch. Okay, Rich. That could very well. I like that. You said the new release of Fire in the Sky is being released, and I think Mike Rogers was possibly paid by Paramount Pictures to create a stir to get the re-release of the Fire. That's a very good possibility. Very good possibility. I thought that was really weird when they said, and correct me if I'm wrong, where it said that, I think it was Scott talking about this, where said something about there was the military guy that was up in that tower and that they were shining this particular, I think it was a blue light, because they had different lenses. They could put green, red, blue, or whatever. And that's how they made this blue light. And I'm saying, it seems to me like they're just trying to, basically just throw the whole idea out the window, or it's a cover-up. But that also makes great sense as well, as far as them trying to, get the releases of new Fire in the Sky and stuff like that and make this complete stir. And, and then they give that idea like, what do you guys think? Is this the real deal or is it not? Dun, 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 kind of attitude. And that very well may be. Kenneth Procty said it's just the government trying to do the same thing to Travis that they did to Bob Lazar, and also that the moon lander from India, they wanted to show the world what's really up there. Well, even Kenneth, even like I said, even China's lying about what they're finding on, because they're in the South Pole of on the Earth. I'm sorry, on the moon. And what I find interesting is that they're covering up crap just like the Apollo mission. There's the real deal. Like I said, that's the missing link. Are UFOs real? Just what we're finding on the moon and the stuff that they're hiding on Mars, there's your missing link. This is what needs to be brought out more. That's the real deal. And nobody's ever talking about that. What our space agencies are doing. They're simply lying. They're just totally avoiding that, like it's taboo. You won't hear any of these people talking about it. The only people I've ever heard talking about it was Russia Today, RT, where they had some of these people that were like from the government, maybe from the military, so on and so forth. I believe that is the only outlet I've ever seen that actually brought it out. Now, they're starting to bring out more of the UFO stuff because it's the Pentagon bringing it out. So other than that, you never hear hide or hear of it. You never hear anything about it unless the Pentagon was putting it out. And even then, again, the runaround. Absolute BS. They just jumped at me. What's going on there, Zeddy? You said hi. Oh, let me see. Yeah, that was another good one. I just went back because somebody had commented to you, Great for All. You said, remember the film Mission to Mars? Another good one. And you seen how they had like that bacteria and had these little insects feeding off the, it's like the algae rather, that they were feeding off of this. You know as well as I do, there's some kind of life on these planets. Even if you just go by the theory of panspermia, bam. Just that alone, it tells me there's more life everywhere than what they're saying. And they know this. Mike L., he said, Ingo Swann remote viewed the rings of Jupiter standing on its surface. Yeah, remember how they're talking about the, what was that book there, The Ring Makers of Saturn, or Jupiter, I think it was. No, I think it was Saturn on that one. But just cool stuff. I mean, it's like they had like unfinished rings and stuff, like just really weird. I think if we actually all learned the truth about what the government knows, we'd be blown away. I don't think we could, because it'd be so much to gather all at once and try to make sense of it all at once. So can you imagine? They probably don't want to bring all of this out, like just go drop it on the public's lap and let them have at it. They're not going to do that. They have to slowly let this stuff out, and we'll probably all be compost by the time it all becomes public, sadly. Steve Gardner, he said, gas giants have massive gravitation to hold it in. Again, hence the actual core. There has to be something at the center of that, right? So, again, it's possible that, something could live within that gas on that core or in that center, as long as you can have your own atmospherics. As far as breathing it, no, you'd be dead in seconds. Yep, Pete, you're right. It says Mars shows a core. Moon does not. Rings like a bell. Now, I'm wondering if the whole moon is actually hollow, like some people claim, or is it because it's got cavernous areas? You know what I mean? Because they did have lava flows, right, at some point on the moon. And there's large caverns underground that were from lava. So, and they do have moonquakes still, so on and so forth. So I'm wondering if it's the unsettling of the under the surface of the lunar surface, right? Could very well be. Samantha Morris, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Metalhead, you're absolutely right. I don't think anybody truly knows the full truth. I was just watching some kind of talking about exoplanets. Now, I don't know if it was from, it might have been space.com. It was on that page, and we'll look, because I have some of the things on here. And I even got something from Nick Pope and some other stuff. And they were talking about exoplanets and how some of the spacecraft that they have out there are looking for these exoplanets. And, of course, they're looking for the dimming of that particular, planet. If it's got an orbiting body, or many, depending on what planet it is. And they can tell by the dimming of it. And in fact, somebody was just talking about a Dyson sphere. But I'm trying to remember how they worded this, but it's just crazy how they just went, well, we're just not sure. So, I mean, they're in infancy stage too, right? It's like I said, we're just like children learning how to walk, and we're just now getting out of our own solar system and sending spacecraft out, going here within our solar system, right? And landers and rovers. But then now we're trying to get out there. You know why? We all know that they found stuff on the moon, and we have proof of that right here, our own proof. We have proof that there's stuff being hidden on Mars. We have that. So we know right off the bat there's more than just us. If you are these space agencies and you have well, I don't know about unlimited amount of money, but you have a great deal of money to spend, and you've seen the things on the moon, you've seen things on Mars, and probably every moon and planet in our solar system, then you're going, I want to see more. I want more of this. I want to see more. So what are you going to do? You're going to go out there and try to find it. So it's as simple as that, right? Alien invaders will crack this planet open like a nut, warns a UFO expert. Right? Nick Pope is a UFO expert who formerly worked at the Ministry of Defense, which is the MOD, and it says if alien visitors ever arrived to take over planet Earth, humans wouldn't stand a chance. Yeah, he's right in that aspect as far as they would dominate this planet because of probably the technology they have. But I don't see why they would, and I believe that they've already been here already, and now if they were violent and they were going to just take over the planet, for what reason though? Just, a lot of people go, well, it's a great planet. Look at it. For us, yes, we've adapted. For them, maybe not so much. Oh, it's pure oxygen. We can't breathe that. We die in there. Kind of like, War of the Worlds and things like that. Just the stuff in the air. These germs and viruses would kill them off. So we don't know that they would look at our planet like, ooh, prime real estate. We have no idea. Have no clue. So to me, it makes more sense that if they're going to come to this planet, I don't know why they would just decimate the planet unless there was something on the planet that needed. But think about this a minute. If they're on their own planet and they're just coming out, scouting around, looking at different planets, they already have their own resources there. So unless we have the same exact resources here on our planet as they do there, that's the only reason why. But why come take it over when you can talk to our leaders and make a deal? And they might have, right? You guys remember that way back in the day? This had to have been at least 10, 15 years ago where they were talking about they was like UFOs literally taking water off this planet. You remember seeing that? There was like a video showing that there was some, and it might have been totally bogus for all I know, but because this is way back. But they were talking about how there's a UFO and it literally drawing water up in it like it was taking it away. Now, for what reason? Was it the life forms in the ocean? If it's true, that is, right? If we were to believe that it's true, was it the life forms in the water or was it the water itself? Kind of like wanting to bring those life forms to their planet. That would be an interesting thing, too. Give me your thoughts on that. Oh, yeah, you're right. I usually do, Ricardo. You're right. You said you mixed up Red Planet with Mission. They're both good movies. That's why. Yeah, you're right. Dan Perry says extremophiles can live anywhere. Absolutely right. What do they call them? Water bears, or the which are basically extremophiles, can pretty much live anywhere. You're right. Let me see. Yeah, Rich, yeah, we know that because you said aliens may be living organisms or EBEs living in our atmosphere and or under the oceans. Absolutely, I totally agree. Heck, we actually have life forms on the ISS. So, of course, it's still in our, atmosphere anyway, or our, basically within a lower orbit anyway. So it's no wonder there probably would be. But yeah, we just don't know. We assume that we know, and we don't. There's so much that we don't know about. These things could easily traverse underneath the ocean, and I've said this before on the live feed. They can go deep into the ocean, come out to a cavern underneath, inside maybe on the like these mountainous areas underneath the ocean. It could be a whole city under there. We don't know. We have no clue, and because they're shielded from rock and all like that, we probably couldn't even see them if we wanted to. So yeah, we just don't know. You said you dropped a link there, Rich. I'm not seeing the link. Let me see. Maybe I went. Let me go back here a little bit. Maybe I just didn't see it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it, Rich. I don't know if it just didn't go on there or what. Maybe I just didn't go far enough back. What do you think? There's a lot of people talking up in here. Yeah, maybe that was it, because it's saying there was one of yours. Let me see if it... No, it's not showing it. It's showing one of yours was redacted. It says message redacted, or retracted, rather. So that may have been the actual link you gave me. I would try dropping it again if you can. And that's the link to what? That was the recording that you had on there with Mike. That might have been the link. It got retracted. You also said, I think the Galileo project will never come to fruition. Too expensive, and it's like SETI. Never find anything this way, but I hope it does work, because you have to try it, right? Well, I think SETI already knows. They already know what's going on, too. I think they got more than one message out there. You know, we got the FRBs, the fast radio burst and stuff like that. Stuff like that. I think they know exactly what those are, although they say it could be like from quasars and different stuff like that. But you have to believe that all this time, keep in mind, how long has SETI been active? Now, of course, they had this problem with Arecibo. Of course, I'm sure you read up on it, where it collapsed and everything else. And I think they want to rebuild it, and then some of them are saying, no, they're not going to rebuild it. May just put new. I don't know. But to me, you know, as long as they've been listening. Now, keep in mind, they listen to thousands of frequencies every single day. Thousands. Where they believe there may be communication between civilizations. How do we know these FRBs aren't it? And I don't know if you were around or even listened in, because I was talking about how do we know, and somebody had told me the name, and I forget this guy's name every time because I don't sit there and just listen to him all the time. But the guy that was the gentleman from, I think he was the actual, I'm going to call him the CEO of SETI. But they were talking about how, these FRBs is 440 million light years away, and this is only like 30 light years away, or whatever, 30,000 light years away. And what they were saying was, these are just, they're just random. Some people may think that's like alien. How do we know they're not? How do we know that light burst isn't loaded with information? And I call it the cosmic newspaper. You have a receiver that can suck this thing in and literally, just like that, it decodes it, and you know everything that's going on in the universe from like the neighborhood, if you will, the galactic neighborhood. How do we know? It's pure speculation, but that doesn't mean that it can't be true. And just because you see a flash over there, it's 440, thousand or million light years away, and this is much closer, doesn't mean they're not communicating back and forth. Like I said, I use the analogy like people on CBs where, there could be a guy 1 mile from me and the other guy's 100 miles away from me, and he's using a beam antenna to talk to me. That doesn't mean we're not communicating just because he's a lot further away, So, and a light burst, it's kind of like the, fiber optics we have today for your cable. You can put so much information in light compared to your simple hard line or coax, right? So, to me, that's a very good option. I think that could very well have been. Rockets, he said, we're up there in space and they're down here in our oceans. And you know what? We're probably thinking, oh, they must be out there somewhere. And they're right there under our noses, right? I don't know. Metalhead, you said objects come out of the water. Malibu beaches. Yep. Well, how many places I've seen them now coming out of just about everywhere. Deeper Look says, how about the vapor water found in the atmosphere of Ganymede? Just one more reason to love Ganymede. Well, I've done a video on that, and where you see these ice crystals, supposed ice crystals, and they're saying, well, you can believe that because that's true. That's what happens, right? You see these, they're being expelled because of constant contracting and, expansion and contraction from their host planet. My problem with it was, I said, first of all, they look like high-powered lights because they say, well, the sun's hitting them. Okay, but there's one photo that's completely in the south pole of it, and the sun's way up here, northeast of that area, and it's completely dark, and they're brighter than bright. That doesn't make sense to me. And so I made a video about that a while back, about Ganymede, and a lot of what looked like structures and how they made everything look smooth, kind of like what they do on the moon, how they do on Mars, and they made it look like smooth. But when you look at this stuff and put it and look into a depth and get the depth back out of it, pull all the dark areas back out that they've pretty much taken out, suddenly becomes more in depth, and you get more of a 3D as opposed to a 2D, right? Mr. Seven did. You said, I believe that they already came, saw, and they conquered. They got what they needed and left. Well, that's what they talk about. If you listen to the Sumerian text, where they talk about how the Anunnaki came down here for the gold, right? They came down here and they said, listen, we're going to turn these like Homo sapiens into like these cavemen type thing and alter their DNA. Again, this is their story. Alter their DNA, and we're going to make them slaves and make them workers, so that they can mine gold. And I believe that was down in Africa, where they mined the gold. Then, they were using it for their atmosphere. Now, once they were going to leave, these top people were saying, okay, just destroy that race. We're done with them. Have a great day. And, of course, these other people that were, within the Anunnaki said, no, just leave them the way they are. Just let them be. Again, that's their story, not mine. So I find it interesting, and there's a lot more to it. So who knows, right? But to me, when you read that, you go, okay, so they were mining here and then left. So that doesn't mean they didn't find it on another planet. Like I said, if other civilizations came here, they wouldn't annihilate. If anything, they just talk, hey, you think we can get some, whatever off you, and we can trade some information, whatever. It's hard to tell what actually would happen. But you can almost guarantee, though, like Nick Pope says, if they ever came to this planet, yeah, you can guarantee. If they were just wanting to take over, just kill anything that was alive on the planet, they would do that, right? They could do it with ease. But I don't think they're going to sit there and use laser blasters and stuff like that. They could unleash a virus, unlike anything we've ever known, and literally kill the planet. Because it's something our biological makeup could not handle. And that would be the issue. I don't think they'd have to literally, blow us apart with lasers and stuff. Willie Wayne says, anyone see that UFO the night Alaskan quake, West Coast? I haven't seen it. I don't know if anybody else has. Dennis Baxter said, I never trust Nick Pope. I'm not sure why. I have no ideas, but I cannot trust that man. Any ideas? I don't know why he would. Like I said, I think a lot of these people are telling the truth, but they may embellish a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean it's not truth, right? It just means it just kind of, blowing it up the hype a little bit more, just to get more traction with their stories and stuff. But I don't believe that he's full of crap. I think he may be absolutely real, because he did work for the MOD. So that's a very good possibility that he's telling the truth. Now, is it 100% proof? 10% proof? 1%? I don't know. Phil C., thank you very much for your support, sir. I do appreciate you. He said, and to this day, we slave away so others get to live large. Ain't that the truth, brother? Amen. Yep, absolutely. And it's like, you know what, but, if you find your own way and you can, you got your niche, I don't care if you're a mechanic on the side, you're making your money, this, that, and the other, you can still live comfortably. But people like that, yeah, I mean, you see a lot of these people who are, in the spotlight doing this kind of stuff, to me, they tend to embellish. And it seems like the story gets added to every year so they can, they can stay within the spotlight, not drop completely out. But that doesn't mean there's no truth to it. You know what I mean? There could very well be. What's going on there, Mr. Dan Perry? Good to see you there. I still didn't see that link. I don't know if Richie's still in there. I didn't see the link yet. Matthew, you said absolutely, you're talking to Rich. Let me see here. I'm not seeing it. You said, absolutely, Rich, common citizens have already discovered so much you and Chris do on your shows every day. Yeah, I mean, I like what Rich does, because he's bringing it out. He's just being real. Just drop it like it's real. And that's the best way to do it. Just in your heart to be true. Just say it, just let it out. Josh D, what's happening? He said, hi, Chris. I'm late. Thanks for all the vids. Well, I appreciate it there, Josh. And good to see you in there, man. How you doing? You doing all right? Jay McGuffey said, very deep liquid water is an excellent medium for clandestine interactions and habitations, rather. Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. I mean, how often do we look into the ocean? There's more eyes to the sky than there are into our oceans, and think about it. You cannot go into the ocean unless, of course, you have submarines, diving bells, and what have you. So, yeah, anybody can take a camera look at the sky, a telescope look at the sky, so on and so forth, and that's what you do. You're not going to drown, so you'd be fine, right? But to look in the ocean, you can't do that. Perfect hiding space, right there under our noses. Ricardo Petrazzi said, I found a great channel to do with pyramids, etc. Check it out. Ancient Architects, if you like that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. That was my first thing I've ever gotten into was into ancient civilizations. Because, well, here's the thing. Once you learn that and you go, wait a minute, there's stories talk about space, this, that, and the other. And, of course, I was already looking into these moon photos and everything else. And, again, puzzle pieces, put them together, Third eye opens. And it says message retracted. Great for all, he said, apparently aliens are flying around in our solar system inside fake rocks, or those are just ancient, empty, artificial rocks with all kinds of tech inside. Well, I don't know if I'd call them fake. I think, let's say they're real rocks, and they just happen to be on them. It's the perfect vehicle to go throughout our solar system, or to go to other. Let's say you just have this weird orbit, and you just control that rock, because you can actually put thrusters on these things, I'm sure. And just go through different parts of the universe and check it out, right? How do we know? It's a perfect thing. Once you're flying, there's no resistance, so you just keep going. All you got to do is just kind of direct it where you want it to go. But that's pretty much it. Jerry Haynes says, I'm 101 thumbs up. Oh, yeah, guys. And this is I'm looking at the watching now numbers, and like I said, they're varying. They're jumping up and down. I think it's hilarious. So, again, these channels are being messed with again, guys. Because there's more than that every time we watch. And it's like I've seen them going up, down, up, down, up, down. It's like, what is going on here? So if you guys haven't hit it, go ahead and please hit it. But I know people have been jumping in here, the thumbs up and stuff, but I can see the people watching, and all of a sudden it just starts dropping down. Then it goes back up, then it drops down. You can actually see it yo-yo like it did last time. But I think it's kind of funny. Rocket says, hate to say goodbye, but gotta go. Good night to all. Thanks, Chris. All right, Rockets, thanks for being here. Appreciate your support, brother. You have yourself a good weekend there, right? Ricardo, your question is Comet 67 an ancient base orbiting the solar system? It is actually orbiting our solar system and going around our sun. And I forget exactly how long it takes for its orbital, or, our orbital around the sun. But, yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder, was it something that in the ancient times they built on this rock to actually just go around and just basically patrol our solar system? Of course, I'm getting sci-fi in you guys and getting, it's like I said, it's purely speculative, but it's like, but what are those objects on the rock and why are they there? It just doesn't make sense, right? Right. Let me see. Lee Herring said any government official is just talking out of their butt. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's a good one there, Sarah. Sarah Music, you said, still see we are using old cameras. Absolutely. Mags, you said, Chris, I think Nick Pope is one who is considering the job he did is just keeping quiet about certain things because he will be being monitored, keeping himself safe. Yeah, I think it's true, too. It's because I think, see how like sometimes they pussyfoot around some things and some things are okay to let out because they probably know like what they can divulge and what they can't. You know, maybe like the 50-year rule or something like that you can talk about, you can get away with. But then anything, more recent, not so much. So, yeah, that might very well be true. Jay McGuffey, 2% battery. Peeps, be back soon. Don't you hate when that happens? That's why I got to like plug mine in sometimes. I'm going to be watching something for a long time or what have you. I just have to do it because it'd be sitting there watching something. Oh, man. Josh D says, hit the friggin' like button. Nail it good. Elaine says, I'm back. Homemade Hawaiian gluten-free pizza. Man, making me hungry here. A handful of mixed veggie chips, a pile of mixed raw of cabbage, beetroot, carrot, baby corn, and salad leaves, and a dollop of organic hummus. Sounds pretty good. All right. Everybody over to Elaine's house. Let's see. Where did it go here? The thing just jumped on me. Emma Bowman, how you doing? You said hi from Liverpool, UK. Good to have you in there. Got a lot of people over there from over the big pond there. Good to see you folks in here. Go down here. Your question was too, Emma. You said, did anyone here ever seen UFOs? May sound crazy, but I still see them all the time. Silver rings high up. I don't know. I didn't know they were rings until my husband set up a telescope and zoned in on them. Well, keep in mind, too, they may actually, well, if it's clear, it's probably you're seeing a ring. If it's not, if it's slightly out of focus, it might give that kind of illusion, too. So just be careful with that. But if he's got a really good, decent clarity on there, then that's interesting because it could, how do we know they're not? They could very well be because there's all types now. We're seeing, remember there's the old standard disc UFO. Now we're seeing tic-tac kind of things, weird things. Pyramidal things, just weird, strange stuff. So it would not surprise me if you've seen something like that. James Cragen, thank you very much for your support, sir. As always, thank you. He said, hi, Chris and everyone. Tonight, I am tied up with my friend whose son won a gold medal with his rowing team. Remember yesterday preparing the homecoming. Oh, that's awesome. Tell him congrats. He doesn't know us, but congrats anyway. That's awesome. And I appreciate your support as always, James. That's cool. Won a gold medal. Nice. Pelagic 6, you said, so you're saying what we are finding on Mars, Moon, and asteroids are remnants of the Anunnaki? That's profound. They were ancient miners and it look a lot like old mining operations down there. Well, there are people who say that they might have, they were using Mars as like a stopover type thing, and that they might have been mining that or living there to boot. So I don't know. Truthfully, I can't say yay or nay and confirm that, but that's what I've heard in stories I've read. And there was talks about, like I said, at some point there was wars on the moon as well as Mars. Now, is it possible back thousands of years ago that the Anunnaki went to war with the civilization on Mars? Just throwing that out there. Is it possible that it's something they did to their own, civilization, their structure and everything else when they left? No idea. There's so many range of questions you can pick out of there, but that's what I heard, that they were mining on Mars as well, or is at least a good stopover. So common sense would tell you, if you're going to mine somewhere and you're going to be there for X amount of years, you're going to live there. So that to me would make more sense. Trell, he said, hey, Chris. Hey, everyone in the chat. What's going on, Trell? Good to see you in there. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Ricardo. You said Nick Pope is subject to the UK's Official Secrets Act. He can't and won't spill the beans. Yeah, sadly. You can see humans will find intelligent life in the universe, NASA head says after UFO report. Why would he come out and just say that? You got to love it. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson, left, said, I think we're going to get some indication that there's intelligent life out there after the Pentagon declassified a UFO report. And, of course, his pictures are on the right. Humans are likely to find intelligent life in the universe, the Administration of National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, said after the Pentagon declassified a report. Bill Nelson, who is also a former astronaut, reiterated the possibility of aliens or the sort on Tuesday, a week and a half after the U.S. released a highly anticipated report. In it, the government could not explain 143 of 144 UFOs reported by military planes from 2004 to 2021. What I find interesting is why only from 2004 to 2020? It simply makes no darn sense, right? So, to me, it makes more sense that you should go back a lot farther, but for whatever reason. Speaking on CNBC, Nelson said that NASA is actively looking for signs of intelligent life outside of Earth. Seriously? If you have a universe that is 13.5 billion years old, it is so big, is there another chance of another sun and another planet that has an atmosphere like ours? Nelson said, I would say yes. So I think we're going to get some indication that there's intelligent life out there. Yeah, NASA's been searching for life for years. Imagine that. Still can't find it. It's on the moon, Mars, and everything. Just can't find it, though. Specifically on planets in our own solar system, Nelson said, rather. It has also been looking all over the cosmos for other suns with planets that have habitable conditions. The search includes gathering more information about Mars. Boy, talk about crap. This particular time, it's scouting a very sandy region in order to determine should the rover go there and possibly get stuck in the sand. So Ingenuity is now just doing amazing things, Nelson said, referring to NASA's Mars 2020 mission helicopter. Nelson's comments on Tuesday reiterated his stance right after the UFO report was unveiled, depending on how you look at it, by the Office of Director of National Intelligence, so ODNI. Observers reported unusual identified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, movement patterns in 18 incidents, the report stated. In addition, it acknowledged a lack of data to determine the natural or unknown flying objects. At this time, Nelson said, there is clearly something there. Gee, what gave it away? We don't think it's an adversary, but when it comes to the universe, or two universes as comes to universe, remember the universe is so large, we have a program in NASA called the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, Nelson told CNN. But thus far, we don't have any receipt communication from something that's intelligent. Interest in finding more about UFOs has spiked after the report, and Democratic lawmaker over the weekend called on Congress to hold a series of hearings on this matter. Yeah, he just can't seem to find it, guys. Probably should help him out, huh? Oh, my God. How do you not love this stuff? Yeah, maybe you just said I could not explain. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's sad. It really is. Matthew, you said tons of crazy stuff in the skies down here in the desert for sure. Yeah, I mean, I would think if you're gonna fly around certain areas, be in some desolate area. I don't care if it's over the middle of an ocean and you could dive underneath. There could be huge cavernous areas. You could find a hole right in the bottom of the ocean floor, come back up, and there's a whole city under there. We wouldn't know it. Our radar probably wouldn't be able to penetrate that far. So the only way they'd have to do it is actually scout the bottom of the ocean and then use ground penetrating radar that way, or else they're not going to find these things. And who knows that they haven't? Or who knows that they haven't they're like these other civilizations, these other aliens don't have a way to cloak themselves, so we couldn't find them if we wanted to. Who knows, right? Richard Petrozzi, Pope the Weasel. That's Pop the Weasel's cousin, right? Mike Knapp, what's going on? I don't know if I said hi to you earlier, but hello. Pelagic 6, thanks for the answer. Well, thanks for the question. Like I said, we don't know it all here. We're just trying to find it just like everybody else, right? We're trying to find the answers to everything. Now, will we ever know it all? No. We can research. We can look stuff up. And we can try to gather in as much as we can and make our best guesstimation or best guess. But until we have all the answers, in other words, until we actually could see it for ourselves, which is not going to happen, then we can only just say, okay, it's pure speculative at best. All we can do is just take our best guess from what we gathered together. And some of the things we don't even have to guess. We can see this in plain sight. Things like I said on the moon and how they're manipulating and censoring these photos, the same thing they're doing on Mars. It's very good possibility that they literally are, actually it's not a possibility. They are hiding things in these photos, right? So Mimi actually said, I don't think you have to live on a planet you are mining. Well, the only reason why I said that, Mimi, is think of this. And I don't mean like the whole, let's call it a corporation, right? I don't think the whole corporation has to live there, but the people who are mining, it's kind of like mining towns here on Earth, right? If you're mining gold, they put up whole darn cities and towns because that's where these people resided at night and stuff like that. And, of course, they came back out and did their work. So that's what I meant by that, if they're going to live on the planet, right? Now, it doesn't mean the whole civilization has to live there. I agree with you. IR Film, it says it looks like a major war happened on Mars. Yeah, well, they were saying that there was two large nuclear explosions, back around 1941, where one was next to the larger blast was from or near the face of near the face of Cydonia. I'll get it out, and of course I want to say chaotic area, but there was an area southeast of that area who had there was a smaller explosion. And of course, this was like mid-air. This was not on the ground. And funny enough, just about all these landers are all around it. So if you got these larger explosions, smaller explosion, they're all down south of these areas. And I don't know if the radiation goes a certain way, so they want to be down south of it, but they're all around these areas, like landers and rovers and everything else are all around these areas where this took place. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like they're just 2 miles away from each other. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away from each other. But they're still around these specific explosions. So, to me, that kind of tells me they're there for that reason. And maybe this was civilization central, meaning it was more structures there than any other part of Mars. And this is where this took place. Was it an accident? Maybe they had their own nuclear explosions, maybe by accident, or they went to war with other civilization, whatever it may be. But they're not going to Mars just strictly looking for just microbial life or anything of that sort. They're literally trying to find, or go through an ancient civilization is there, and they're just picking apart, taking photos, doing this, doing that, trying to get all the information they can before man actually gets there. What's the best way to do it? There you go. It's kind of like what they did with the moon. They had the orbiters. They had just telescopes, even just telescopes looking at the moon. Okay, that doesn't look like it's natural. What is that? Let's get there. The Soviet Union, back then was the Soviet Union, played it smart. They actually used their Lunokhod rover instead of sending man. Now, for whatever reason, maybe they weren't ready to, or didn't have the technology to do it at the time, or they just felt it was safer just to send a rover, which they did. And it traversed the moon for I think it was 3 miles. That's not it's etched in stone, but I think it was somewhere around a few miles that the actual Lunokhod traveled. That is quite a bit for a rover. What's the point? What are you looking for on the moon? Are you just digging up samples, or are you there to see something that's not of anything like, wanting to know about the lunar surface itself or below it? You want to see what's actually on it. And I think that's why they were there. And, of course, we were there in person, looking this stuff over ourselves and grabbing the stuff. So they wanted to see what was going on. They grabbed what they could. They got their photos sent back, so they know it's exactly what's on that moon. And we did too. That's why we went. And I don't think we ever stopped going. I've been saying this. I don't think if we ever stopped going to the moon, even after Apollo 17. It talks about how it was 18 up to 20. They said 18 never took place because one of the astronauts said, it's unsafe for astronauts. I'm going, unsafe for astronauts. So you went 6 other times, and there was accidents then, if you think about it. I think, 10 was just an orbit. It didn't land. But they had problems. They had a fire on one of the actual Apollo missions, so on and so forth. But yet they were suddenly worried about astronauts getting hurt. I'm like, what is going on here? So that was a BS kind of thing. They knew exactly what they were doing, and I don't think they ever stopped going. If you found something like that on the moon, and there's plenty to see and tear apart, in other words, you want this technology for yourself, and you want to get as much, what's the word I want to use, material from these sites, whether it be structures, spacecraft, whatever it may be, you're going to continue to go till you can get every bit of information you can get off of these, so you're not going to just stop at these missions. And these Apollo missions weren't just to simply take core samples, although they tried to, and it seemed to me some of these places they were trying to go down with a core sample drill, and they couldn't even get into the surface. They went down maybe 1 inch and couldn't go any further because they found certain metals, on the moon as well. Just some kind of crazy, weird stuff. And when you try to pull back the centering on these photos, you can see all kinds of what look like structures and machines laying right in front of these astronauts. Seriously, what's going on? So there's more to it than they're telling the public. Trust me. A lot more. Josh D, you said it goes back to at least World War II, and now about Foo Fighter, even in the World War, and find results. Yeah, I mean, well, again, we know what happened, during the war, where they had the Foo Fighters. These orbs actually following these planes during the war, and, they were trying to explain that. Couldn't explain it. I think it just jumped on me here. Let me just go down to the bottom. If anybody wrote a comment or question they wanted to ask me, just go ahead and do that. Pat Owen, what's happening? Good to see you in there. He said, Mars bars. To be created by the solar nova event. Let's see. Lee Neon says, reading Tesla himself could send a signal and 100% confirm it was from being from Mars. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was 100%, but I know that he talked about that because he was getting what seemed to be a signal back. He was hearing the signal, and he's going, okay. Now, keep in mind, this was ham radio in its early infancy. So I'm not so sure if he's hearing somebody else or he actually heard like a transmission he received, and it was about, they were describing how they were from Mars or whatever. That would confirm. But if they were just hearing chatter, if he was just hearing chatter, then it might have been somebody else's signature from around the world just bouncing off the ionosphere, and he could have been hearing that, right? So, I don't know. Let me see. Do. All right. Whoops. Hate it when it does that. Okay. Josh, you said, I found a Foo Fighter report in World War One, the big war as we call it, but it goes back 6,000 years at least, I feel. Yeah, I mean, these things, if those are true, and these Foo Fighters, these orbs were around these airplanes at the time, then you know they've been here for much, much longer, especially if they're in the form of an orb. It's one thing to see some kind of mechanical-looking UFO, these disc UFOs. Remember we went back to these older photos where it had the Nazis showing their spacecraft and stuff like that, and it had the swastika on the side and everything else. And I said, it's weird how the farther you go back, it seems like these things were old and clunky. Like, just really raw and kind of clunky things, right? But now we have these Tic Tac UFOs that are like zipping from area to area, like within like seconds, and they're controlled. Now, are they remote controlled, or there's actually entities in them? That's another big question they've been asking too, right? Salem Shogunate, you said, yo, what up, everyone? What's going on? Matthew, you said NASA is a branch of the military, so they don't have to divulge anything, I think. Yeah, well, they have the actual, the DOD is actually affiliated with them, right? So I think they're the ones pulling the strings. They get to tell them what you can divulge, what you cannot. And, of course, they're probably just saying, listen, anything that's got to do with anything that looks intelligently made, I want it washed out of the photo. I mean, this has been happening since the moon photos. You can see this. I've done plenty of videos on the moon where you can actually bring back the actual features, especially a lot of these whitened out or sanitized photos of the moon where it's completely white. They're not white. That's something they overlay on it. Excuse me. Pat, you're right. There you go. It was Marvin the Martian. Damn. I knew it had to be him. Yeah, Mike. Yep, you're right. He said Andromeda. Mike Hoovy said, I'm going back a little bit. You said, cleanest mineral man knows of. And the moon has millions of pounds of it. Them mining the surface. It all fits. Yeah. Kind of makes sense. William Finn, he said, we the government keep on thinking that we, the people, are stupid. The jig is up. Yeah. I mean, people are not dumb. They can research this stuff for themselves. Heck, before I was even watching anything or decided to do any of the channel, I was researching this stuff myself. And then, I try to come up with, try to be, you want to be a skeptic, but you want to be open-minded, which is, it's not synonymous a lot of times, but you're trying to do both. In other words, you're being critical thinking, but you're trying to be open-minded that it's a possibility. Doesn't mean it is and it's true. So, and then you try to put all these puzzle pieces together, and after a while, you start to see the real picture. You may not see the whole picture, but you'll see most of it, right? So, I think a lot of it, what we're seeing, and now putting the pieces together, is that there's other life forms. It's as simple as that. Hey, Kurt Abanis, what's happened? What's going on? He said, Mars has a large glacial mass under the ground, which is melted together with CO2, could create a principle of atmosphere on the planet. Absolutely. Well, there is water, right? They did find water in the South Pole, right next to the South Pole, and like we've talked about before. It has to be at least a foot underground for the ground penetrating radar to actually see that. And I shouldn't say that, it's got to be at least a foot thick. So they found this cavern underneath the ground, and I think they said it was like a mile in width. So that's quite a bit of water, pretty decent size underground lake, if you will, underneath there. So absolutely, I think there's a lot more water on Mars than they're saying, and there is an actual water cycle in Gale Crater. we know that as well. So with the blue sky, how many times now are we starting to see the blue sky on Mars, right, guys? So blue sky, water. Now, don't get me wrong, there's brine on there as well, which is highly salt water, highly salted water, or salt concentrated. But we see what looks like cirrus clouds. So the weather changes there, and it does in fact rain, or at least has moisture coming down, whether it's like a little bit of a drizzle, whatever it may be. But either way, it has a water cycle on that planet. And it does actually have water ice, H2O, not just CO2, not just carbon ice. So there's a lot more on Mars than they're saying. But now they're slowly coming around, and like I said, I've already seen that a long time ago when I looked at the Hubble photos of Mars. When they were talking about, you can actually see the actual Hubble, right? And you can see not the Hubble, but you can see the photos, and they've got like from January to December, and you can see how the poles get larger in the colder months, and they get smaller like here on Earth. So it's just like Earth does the same exact thing. And at one time they were saying, oh, it's just carbon ice. It's just carbon. No, it's not. No, it's not. And there wasn't long after that they said, oh, there's water ice just like here on our Earth with the poles. In other words, we have H2O, and then we have the carbon ice on the top of it. It's the same thing we have here. Ricardo said the surface of the moon exhibits the exact isotopes and the exact ratios and quantities as those discovered in the KT boundary layer, like the microtectites and microsphericals, which can only be created by a solar nova event. And they've talked about that before. Remember, they were saying that it's probably like a giant burst from the sun, a coronal mass ejection type thing. And that could very well have done that. And I know they've talked about this several times. Pat, I love that candy bar, Mars bars. Oh, I know, I've seen that too. The G's Views says now they're saying it's possibly is really sand and not water. Really? I've seen that same article too, and in fact, I wonder if I have. No, it's not there either. Wait a minute, it might be here. Right down, if I'm not mistaken, because here's more of the space news. No, it wasn't there, but I don't know if you guys heard this about 3 hours ago. They put this on about 4 or 5 hours now. Russia says software failure caused thruster misfire at space station. And what it literally did is threw off the ISS in orbit for just a little bit. And, of course, they corrected this problem. But there was a misfire on the new, space station by the Russian Space Agency when they put up their new module that was, brought up to the space station and attached. Somehow it misfired and it sent the whole station kind of like in, it just kind of knocked it out of kilter, so to speak. New chaotic order. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you in there. Let's just nuke it. Yeah, there you go. What about artifacts and ruins? Are we talking about Mars or are we talking about the moon? New chaotic. Yeah, okay, we're talking about that too. You're saying nuking the capsule, and what about the ruins? Well, it makes you wonder, are they really talking about terraforming Mars or getting rid of the evidence? Think about that. So if they get all the evidence they need and then literally bomb these areas again, maybe they can literally put dust over everything and, so when they finally do get there, it's pretty much, like covered up. Think about that. Because it seems a little weird how they just want to terraform. You don't have to terraform nothing on Mars. You can literally, if you're in like a lower elevation, like in Gale Crater, you and I could breathe there. It may be like you're being at the top of a mountain here on Earth, but you can still breathe there. Now, at night, if it gets really cold, and we're talking about, even in the summertime, it's really cold, right? But in the summertime, it can hit anywhere between 50 and 80 and upward above that if you're next to the equatorial region. And that's where most of the stuff is, right? These landers and stuff. So, because you'd find probably the best chance for life, like you would here on Earth, you get these Amazon jungles, where are they located, right? So, close to the equator, most sun, there you go. So most apt to find life there as opposed to like in the poles. But that doesn't mean you can't. You can go to Antarctica and there's life forms in the deepest oceans, right? Below freezing. So the whole thing is like, it's. So I don't know if it's all about terraforming as it is to getting rid of the evidence. What do you guys think about that? You think if they're going to try to nuke it, is it actually for terraforming, or do you believe it's for something else? What do you guys think? All right, Mark, you taking off? Mark Martini says, okay, Chris, and all, time to go. Love to you all. All right, Mark, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here, man. You have yourself a good weekend there, right? Mike, what are you saying? Come on now. Jerry Lahane says people on Mars equals hundreds of millions. Well, I mean, truthfully, I'm 50-50 as is anything. When I say civilians or civilization still on Mars, is it a possibility? Absolutely. We've talked about this before where if there is still life on Mars, then they're either still using some of these structures and some of them are probably going underground, or they had that both like we have today. We have people like literally build underground and into sides of mountains. You go to places like Turkey, they literally build into mountains and stuff like that, and hills and stuff like that. Because there's actually a community. I forget where it's at. I don't know if it's here in the States where it was at, but they literally have like a whole community that literally lives underground. And they literally just carve it. It's like a soft stone, and they just carve out their homes and they live in there. So, which I think is neat. But like I said, to me, there could be life there. Now, whether there is or not, I'm not sure. I can't imagine. Well, I can. I was just going to say, I can't imagine them being there after these nuclear explosions. But how long ago does this happen? Even Chernobyl, or some of these places now, you can go back to, if it's happened at least 70 years ago, 70 years, 80 years, whatever it may be, there's a good chance you can go back. Now, I don't know if you'd want to live there and sleep there and make an apartment there. But it's safe for you to go in and then stay there for a while and then go out. So would they still be able to live there on the surface? Perhaps. But I would still think if you're living anywhere near these detonation areas, that the ground is still saturated with it, right? Even if the air is not, the ground would still be. Pat Noe said they would nuke Mars to kill the indigenous people on so we can take control. Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing, too. And, of course, this is highly speculative, but we've been seeing a lot of what looks like smaller structures, something that you and I couldn't live in. They look very small. So is it possible these are beings that are really small? I guess. Anything's possible. I'm not saying I believe it, but anything's possible. Smaller planet, it's what, a little over half the size of Earth. So is it possible there's beings that are a lot smaller than us? Could be. We got pygmies and stuff like that here on this planet. They're probably half the size of us. So is it a possibility? Sure. How much of a threat would they be to us? Unless they were super high tech. I don't know. So you could probably dominate the planet, not even trying, if you wanted to. Now, I'm not so sure all of these things that we're seeing on there are for like miniature people, because I've seen some things that are supposed to be mountains and they're not mountains and they're very large. So it's hard to determine how big the civilization was, or at least the people that were there, right? You're right about that, Martin. You said they're going to have to do a hell of a lot of nuking to hide all of the evidence. Well, it depends on what we're talking about. Like Yale crater, you can easily just take that out. Or here's the thing. They could literally, decimate the area again if they wanted to, or just simply not go there. How many people are just going to go, let's say there turned out to be a civilization there. And when I say civilization, like ours, meaning we go there and there's like 100 of us. How many people are going to go, hey, I'm just going to go take a Sunday ride. I'm going to go see if there's anything out there. You're not going to get very far. It's not like we have roadways to do that. So I can't see people doing that. So if you're not anywhere located near that area, you'll never see these structures. Now, once there's a civilization on Mars, meaning we're like got a full-blown civilization, millions of people on there, that stuff's going to come out. It just has to. There's no way around it. But by then, we wouldn't care because to me, at least the way I'm thinking, is that we've already overcome it. In other words, it'll be, if they say anything about the structure, just say, yeah, by the way, folks, we actually found an ancient, super ancient civilization because now, like I said, let's fast forward into the future, and we got millions of people living on there, and this is going to be like probably hundreds of years that we have millions of people there. Let's say 100 years from now. Well, by then, it'll be ancient history. We were like, and we wouldn't even be phased because now it's just the norm to travel back and forth to Earth, to Mars, so it's the norm. So when they say, oh, by the way, there's an ancient civilization we found, oh, it's just crazy. We just happen to find these structures there, or bits and pieces. Oh, wow, that's cool. You wouldn't think nothing of it at all. Now, you think it's intriguing and awesome because it is. But by then, it's going to be like old hats. It's not even a big deal. Oh, wow, that's cool. There was somebody living here. That's pretty neat. So we're not the only ones that's been here. And you're going to pass it off like, no big deal. So that's, at least that's my thinking. I don't know what yours are, but you can, drop your thoughts below as well. Mark Norris, he said, if you are looking for extraterrestrial life, you wouldn't particularly look at new star-producing regions. You would think you'd look at older star regions. Yeah, exactly. Why would you look at newer when you could look at the old? Because chances are, obviously, if the planet's been there for billions of years, chances are they may have life. I don't care if it's organic. Organic is still life, no matter how you look at it. If it's microbial or macro, it's still life. Mark Daniel says, happy Friday. Mike was just saying to Josh, how many years have we been ripping apart their BS photos? You got that right. Oh, yeah. New Chaotic Order says China, Russia, Australia are interested in alien tech. Well, we all would be. Here's the thing. If you can, let's say you're thinking on a level of, hey, we can improve things on Earth, then you're looking at it in a good way. Like, I'd love to be able to get that technology so we can put it to use and maybe alleviate some of the things we're going through. We have the dependency on, like, dino fuels and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, you can use renewable fuels, like, wind generation, solar, stuff like that. Solar, I think, is the way to go, but you need quite an array of solar to power up, although they've done it, other cities, they've done that. But and you could do it on a small scale in your own home, which is cool. Now, some people say, well, yeah, but what happens if you don't have any sunlight? Well, you still have light. It still generates power. It'd just be a whole lot slower. Like my solar panels, I've got 2 of them, and even when it's cloudy, I'm still producing at least, it's still around 13 to 14 volts, even though the panels put out 20 volts apiece. So I can still get about 13 to 14 volts. It would just charge the battery actually slower. So you can still get it no matter what. Wind generation, not so much, unless you live on a mountain or you live in an area that, well, it's windy sometimes it's not, and it's not dependable. Sun is. Daylight is. So, yeah. To me, I think every country who's not thinking about using it for war, the technology would be great. Again, so, it would make more sense to want to further, civilization here on Earth, making it more energy efficient. 0-point energy, all kinds of crazy stuff like that, or just regular technology that would totally help us, you know what I mean? Mark Norris, he said the high interest in a new star formation region suggests either suitable destination for Earthlings or looking for solar system that are extraterrestrial migrated a colony. Well, yeah, that could very well be. And I think at one point, and we talked about this before, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about this, Mark, but there was a woman, and I don't remember her name, was a scientist, and she said back in the day, when the dinosaurs were around, our solar system was in a totally different part of the galaxy. And I said, what if we were next to another solar system that these alien civilizations could literally hop onto, like a lily pad from their planet, or just fly directly to ours because it was close enough. Of course, they lived their life out through our solar system, and then as it moved around for thousands and billions of years, whatever, just moved around, they just jumped off. Now what we're seeing is basically like an old neighborhood, and we're just the new kids on the block, and we're just learning about our new neighborhood. When I say new, it's old and in ruins by now, but they've came and they've went from this solar system over thousands and millions of years, and now what we're seeing is just ruins and stuff like that. Of course, I don't think the destruction on Mars was that long ago, because you would not see the things we're seeing on this planet, because there is wind. There is actually, so you got wind erosion. You have, like I said, you got, basically you have weathering on there. You have water and stuff like that. Even if it's just moisture and not rain, fine. You still get the sun. You got salt water, which eats steel. I mean, so this stuff would be gone, period. You wouldn't see any of this. Unless, of course, they use a certain steel that wouldn't do that, but you get the idea. Dan, you said, I don't want to live in a radiated mess. I don't blame you for that, that's for sure. Matthew, you said, I think it's ridiculous and disgusting that, disgusting thought that humans would ever contemplate bombing another planet. What do we do here to other countries? Don't think nothing of it. We'll just go over there and take over what you got. We need your resources. We want to keep what we got here, but we want to go ahead and decimate your area so we can just go in there and just kind of whip a little freedom in on you. You know what I mean? And so this way we can actually take what we want. Do it all the time. Ricardo said you can revisit Chernobyl now, but not recommended to stay for more than an hour or so. I heard it was a little bit longer than that. You could get away with like a few hours. But yeah, it's not something like you want to like just stop living there. Just, pitch a tent or just live in the buildings. But they did. If you've seen the documentary, I seen one probably about a year ago where they were talking about what at one time there was these deformed animals, but now they're gone. They're dead and gone. Now there's thriving life, normal life again. You got your trees coming back, everything's growing back in, everything's just, and Mother Nature's taking over now, parts of the cities and everything else, where they had parks that were supposed to open, and, amusement parks never did open, and so on and so forth. So they, what was the name of it? Was it Piet? What was the name of the city? It was next to there. But the thing is, it's like, okay. Hold on a minute. I was just getting an alert here. Let me see here. Okay. Got sidetracked. What do you think of that? I'm actually reading these too, so. But like I said, I mean, you can, go into these, like I said, if we were talking about, going back to talking about, free energy, if you will, going to other countries, taking what we want, so on and so forth. And you were talking about Chernobyl here. But like I said, it's all growing back. So the deformities of these animals are now dying off because they're basically weak at that point. And everything's starting to grow back. So he said that I'm almost positive. He said you could go maybe even 5 to 7 hours there with no problem. But they don't recommend you stay there much longer than that because you're really asking for it at that point, right? Kurt Abana, visit Chernobyl and get cancer. Yeah, that's why you don't want to stay there too long. That's not a good idea. Long Island, New York, 1395. What's going on? He said, hey, Chris. What's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. Go down here. Oh, this thing jumped on me, but here we go. Well, like I mean, here, I just got down your comment here, or your question. You said, do animals living in Chernobyl have any signs of genetic defect? Well, they did, but like I said, they pretty much died off now. You don't see any of that. Well, at least you might see one, maybe two things, but pretty much they're all gone. And now there's regular life forms. You can see regular deer, meaning not deformed. You can see trees all growing in there. Everything's fine now. But they still don't recommend that you go in there and just say, hey, I think I'm just going to live here now. So, yeah. But it is becoming back to normal, right? Jerry Lahaney said people are in for a shock, both good and bad, when they see what's on Mars. Yeah, I mean, we're only seeing like a fragment of it, and it's not a whole lot we're actually really seeing, we should be seeing. But just that alone, just a little bit we're seeing, to me says there's life everywhere. You know, it's not just in the solar system. I believe it's everywhere out there. And like I said, if we were to, if you were to picture, like I said, dropping a pebble in a pond, it just goes outward. And if you got the Big Bang, where it started off at the center of precisely at that time, boom, just went outward. Well, the furthest, planets out there at the very edge, outer edge of the universe, well, not the edge of the universe, but within the universe, you've got these planets. Those would be the ones that have life that came and went, probably millions of times. And those are the areas you'd find the most, probably, technologically advanced you'd ever think of, because they had so much more time to be there, come and go, meaning lots of generations of, maybe dying off, new life starting, so on and so forth. And you would expect those to have more life and more intelligent and more technologically advanced than here. As far as our planet, it's so much younger. And, so we're like the new kids on the block, right? Raquel Gelstrom, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Oh yeah, Mimi, you're right. It's gonna be blooming with or without us, like you said. Chris, the flora and fauna is blooming without the humans. It doesn't need to, right? So, yeah, like I said, it just puzzled me how they could just say there's no life anywhere. Doesn't that just seem really weird? What I also find interesting how the CEO, basically, the administrator, Bill over here, saying, oh yeah, I think we'll find life now. Wait a minute, just because they decided to tell you that, oh, wait a minute, the Pentagon declassified these UFO reports, but wait a minute, we're going to find life now. Think about it. It's like they're setting everybody up to like slowly drip, drip, drip this disclosure, and it's all coming into fruition what they're doing. They're kind of slowly like leading everybody down this path to say, well, let's get them set up for it. Let's get their mindset. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. Oh, wow, we found a civilization out there. Oh, wow. To get people desensitized to the fact there could be other life out there besides us. And I think that's awesome. I was wondering, guys, what do you guys think? Would they come out with, well, one, you would think they'd come out with something on Mars, meaning said they found more than just, I'm hoping they say at least microbial. If you find microbial macro, there's a good chance there's organics there too. That's not the rule, of course, but that doesn't mean it's not. But I would think it'd be cool if they said, we actually, because it could be on the fence about this. They could say, hey, by the way, we actually intercepted a signal, received a signal from another planet. And I remember hearing one about this before. I don't know if it was a hoax or not, but where they said they actually heard a transmission from Mars, they thought it was, or another planet rather, it wasn't Mars, where they said the signal was breaking up, but they're saying that we did it to ourselves, and they were saying, please help us and everything else, and they were just taking the outside shot that somebody could hear them and that they heard this. Now, I don't remember because it's been a while back since I've heard this, but it could have been bogus for all I know, right? But the thing is, do you think that they'll ever say, we heard a transmission from another planet? Because think about it. You could still say, heck, they probably, you could take it either way. Like, yeah, right, there's probably something here on Earth. Or, well, there's no way to, prove it, so, you know what I mean? People just throw their hands up in the air and say, whatever. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? You think it'll come in a form like that? Or do you think they're going to, maybe start to get more and more, which I'm hoping, more information, can give the public more information about what's on Mars. New K. Adegordi said the aliens must not be good. They want our governments to change society and create NWO. And we're in that final phase. Well, and maybe they might have that prime directive, kind of like if you look at watch the movie Star Trek, where they're not to interfere with the actual civilization's progress, whether good, bad, or indifferent. So that may be that kind of weird thing going on, right? Who knows? You're right, Ricardo. He said, disclosure happens every day. You're being drip-fed it. Blink and you'll miss it. Well, if you're thirsty and hungry for this kind of information, you're looking at it all over the web. You're trying to find different things. But you got to be careful of people who, say certain things and you can just tell they're not being genuine, right? And they're just doing it just for simply to make videos. And there's people who are just trying to pull the stuff apart or just showing what they see. And that's pretty much it. And let you guys, make your own, come up to your own conclusions, right? I think that's the best way to do it. Just find what I find, convey it. Guys, tell me what you think it is. Because you can't say it is this, it is that. Or I usually use the terms, it looks like, meaning it doesn't mean necessarily, I mean absolutely, right? We don't speak in absolutes here. We just say, this looks like this. Or these are structures. They sure look like that. So, and some things are just almost like you can't deny it. It's like, these are here, guys. Look at this. These are structures. And that's it. Like the 67P we did, right? This is what I want to show you guys something, too. Did you guys notice this? I want to see if you guys notice. Did you guys see anything weird on there that I said, and I'm going to just try to get your memories going. When I said, look at this very large structure, and when I looked at this photo again, I said, wow, this thing looks like a giant monolith. And it's not a structure. Well, it may be a structure, but it's the way it's formed. It does not look like a very wide structure. It looks like a blade. Did you guys see that? This is neat. Let me show you this. All right, right in this area alone, this has got to be the most awesome thing I've seen. If you really have a look at this thing, now I'm going to show you this in just a normal photo. This is without enhancing anything. So this is the normal photo. This is the normal photo. It's just smaller. This is it. Well, after I've seen this, it's not a very large structure. It looks like a wall, almost transparent. Look at this thing right here. It looks like it has something going around like this, okay? Going up like this, comes down. The shadow almost mimics it. You can see it just kind of going up just a little bit and then back down. You guys see that? I thought that was pretty darn cool. Now, I call this whole thing a structure when I don't believe that it is. It looks like it's almost like this here and comes back down, and it almost has the shadow here to almost prove the same thing. It kind of goes up a little bit and then back down. Right here. It looks like some kind of weird blade kind of thing standing up as opposed to a whole structure. Now, when you enhance this, you can see that a little bit better. You can really branch out the compression artifacts. You can see this, what they overlay of these photos to try to ruin these actual... you can pull back a little bit. But you can still see this item right there. Now, this may be a structure, and just one side of it we're seeing like this, and I'll show you what I mean. We zoom in a little bit. It may be like this. Kind of comes down. You can see the whole thing doing this. And, of course, you got this side of it coming up and then going back down. And, of course, we have, again, the shadow where it looks like it kind of goes up like this and goes back down. See that? I don't know if this whole thing is a structure or if this is separate ones here. You guys see that? I didn't hear anybody mention about that, what that was, or just seen it. So I'm kind of curious if you guys have seen that. Mimi Rex looks like a horse. It kind of does the way the way it goes up like that there. Yeah, I've heard this more than once, Mimi, which is a really, really good theory. When you said, Chris, maybe it is part of a planet once and then broke off. And it could very well be. Now, some people just think it's some kind of, it might have been a spacecraft at one time, or they built into it and they just basically, maybe they control the thing throughout space. Who knows? It is the perfect place to be. If you're on there, and I said this before, I said, how do we know that they're not living inside this and outside of it? And it's actually their planet. And I even said in the video, I said, people are going to say, what do you mean planet? There's no ocean there. There's no anything. How do we know what these people or these things or these people, these beings eat or drink? It could be something, they synthesize their own food, make their own food. They don't need to eat what we eat. How do we know? It's all purely speculation because we don't know. But to me, when I see things like that, and these objects, to me, there's something on this rock. There's structures on this rock. At least they look like that. And there's just too many things on here, like this here. Like this area alone, I showed in the video. That when you look at carefully at this area, just that area alone, all these little pieces inside here. In fact, there's two of these things right here. There's two round pieces right there, because I wasn't very straight when I did that, but you get the idea. Doesn't really matter. There's two spots, perfect, like what look like something protruding out of this area right here, identical. This weird looking object right here. And of course, all the other pieces up here. This weird thing I set up here looks like this opening here with a door that just swings open. You can see it's open. It almost looks like it has this kind of weird, almost like it's outside. It's rounded like this. Has a point to it. You don't see the very point, but then you see it going like this. And then we have the inside. I'm not sure how big the ID would here or the inner diameter. But it looks like this here is the door to it and it actually closes into it. That's what it looks like. Now, whether that is or not, no way to know. Yeah, exactly, Mimi. You said it could be a spaceship disguised as a rock. Well, I mean, isn't it the perfect thing? It's kind of like the Trojan horse, only you're not really attacking anybody, but you're just going through the solar system. Who knows this thing doesn't move from solar system to solar system just to check out different solar systems or life that could be in these solar systems. How do we know? There's no way of knowing, right? And they maybe know. And I could bring this up for you guys again. This here. Well, let me do it this way first so you can actually hear the sound of this. Get rid of that. Don't need that. Let me do it this way first. And of course, this was for people who didn't hear this. This is the actual signal being put off by the 67. So, to me, these things are pretty large. Well, let me see. Hold on. I was just going to answer the question here at the same time. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they did say that they sped that sound up and had to make it audible for the human ear to hear this. Now, my thing, and I was purely speculating, was I was saying, is it possible that's some kind of energy signature coming from this thing, and that's why they got wise to it and decided to visit this thing? I mean, who knows? It's just kind of weird how they just like, oh yeah, it was, and it's not like it was near the sun at the time, so it's not throwing off this weird. They say I think it was caused by its magnetic field, so it wasn't caused by the sun, but they think it by its magnetic field. Okay, wouldn't that change as the orbiter's going around it? You'd hear, and now it does fade in and fade out at times where you can hear it like kind of, but it sounds like a regular signal you would get. Picture that signal coming in through your AM radio, and it drifts and comes back in. That's what it sounds like to me. Is it possible it's hearing that while it's going around the other side of it, and it's kind of weak, and it's just hearing it only when it's around that particular side of it? Good possibility, right? The other thing is, too, and I think I made a small mistake. I think I said it was 2 miles in length, and somebody corrected me and said it was I think it was 2.7 miles and about 2.5 miles wide. So it's pretty large as far as, a rock. And I said in the video, I said, how many structures can you fit in a 2-mile radius here on Earth? If it's a city, you can fit quite a bit. So you can get quite a bit of structures on here. And that's pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, a very good possibility, right? And of course, we had these other items here I was talking about. Of course, this area here, well, like I said, it looks like pipes and stuff sticking out. I'll zoom into this in a second. And of course, we got this weird design going around. It goes up like this and over. Let me zoom into that a little bit. Right there. This is the original photo. Really not much different. I just took anything that was lighter and just brought it out more. That's all. As you can see, Anna sharpened up with just a hair bit. Kind of weird, man. This stuff is not natural. There's just no way that is. Jerry Lehane, like you said, like a Doppler. Yep. Pete Ferreira said it could be a signal we don't understand. Well, like I said, it could be a power signature sound. It could be just about anything. They could tell us anything. We go, yep, yeah, that's it. We don't know. We have no clue. Because, they could tell us anything we want to hear. It's like, oh, yeah, that's what we think it is. These are those weird looking, looks like pipes or some kind of framework type stuff. Just weird stuff. This item right here. And like I said, this whole area right here. That, to me, is not natural. Period. Of course, we had this whole other section here. Right here. I'll zoom in on that a little bit. Because you can't go in too far. You start getting compression artifacts. Well, seeing their artifacts they put in there. That's the original right there, folks. Clear it up, bring it out a little bit darker. And anything that was lighter, just made it lighter, that's all. I'm going to hit 8 so it's blurry and not sharpened, but you can see it either way. And again, original. You can see this right here. I don't know if you guys can see this little, it looks like a teardrop kind of structure. Right here. The throat's dry. Gotta love it. Well, that looks like a duck, but anyway, that's not what I was trying to achieve. You can see it right here. Looks like this weird kind of almond-shaped kind of object right there. So you can see this here. Right there. That's the original. Get myself out of here. I'm just looking. You're not going to be able to see half of this stuff if I'm in it. Right here. Yeah, it's a little better. But there it is there. You can see where they digitized this area out, where they try to block it out right here as intense as they could, trying to take this out. But again, you can still see this stuff. But right there, they did this weird digitizing right here through the center of this. Unless it's actually part of whatever that is. Gerda Bonus, you said, I think it's a radio frequency source artifact. It could be created only by intelligent form. Well, I mean, like you guys are saying, like Doppler shift noise in airways, but signal in space. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a very good, you get the Doppler effect. I know what you're talking about, Jerry. And you know, but here's the thing. That had to have been what they were doing. They were just kind of like, oh, yeah, where's this sound coming from? And they centered it on this comet and said, wow. And they're noticing this thing. We need to check this out a little bit more. If you notice, too, here's another interesting little area. And I'm going to put this in the original form and show you this. There's 4 of these objects right here. They look like they're almost triangular. All right. Get that back off there. Put it in the middle of the screen. See them right there? Yeah, that doesn't happen through nature. Let me just back up so we don't get these compression artifacts. But you can see that, and if you look at the area around it, it literally has an area that does this. It looks like another squared structure right here. And this may be part of it as well. Zoom in. That's the enhanced. That's the original. I'll do it without sharpening it. Again, enhanced, original, enhanced, original. And then we'll do it enhanced and sharpened. Yeah, this stuff is not natural. Oops. Phil, see you taking off? If you are, have yourself a good night, man. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your support, as always. James, thank you for your support as well, as always. He said, Chris, a great hangout again and great vids this week, like always. Chris, we know they never stop going up, of course, and you're proving that big time. Well, between all of this stuff we're gathering, you know, it's still, I know it's still hard for some people to wrap their minds around. Like this particular one here, I looked at this rock over and over again, and I'm saying to myself, those can't be structures. What are these objects, and why are they on here? How do we know for what reason they're even put there to begin with? Okay? We have no idea why they were put there. Who knows? Maybe, you know, they're trying to do, or they did rather, what we were trying to do, or what we're trying to do now. We're trying to save our species by building a civilization on Mars. Who knows? Maybe we're going back. Maybe we were originally Martians and we're coming back. I've said that before. And it might have something that happened thousands of years ago, and we were actually advanced, and we got like a civilization that has amnesia, and we're just trying to relearn everything about us again, and we're going back to it. Maybe they did the same thing, a last-ditch effort to be able to, kind of like a Battlestar Galactica. Remember the original ones, even the newer ones, how they talked about how their planet was failing and everything else, and they just basically got all kinds of spaceships, and they're looking for a new planet. How do we know this wasn't this type of thing? Again, pure speculation, but how do we know? Why would you go about building these things on a rock unless, one, you're mining it, but you'd still have to be able to bring it back and forth to your home planet, right? And it's literally orbiting. It's not just going around your host planet. It's literally going through the solar system. how would you get the stuff back and forth? So you have to ask yourself, what was the original reason and what's the real reason why you're building these things on a comet? Max K said, well, they say there's an inner Earth. Maybe this is the same. It could very well be. Could very well be. Maybe they have on top and it's just facilities to make sure the place runs right and everything or everybody seems to live underground or inside this rock. How do we know? There's way too many natural, meaning 90 degrees, unnatural rather, 90 degrees angles, things that are standing up, their structures to be just rock. There's just no way around it. And I think it's fascinating. And it's not the last ones I have, guys, by the way. I do have others we're going to definitely take a look at. And I like these, too. They're like wallpapers, I like that. Oh, these are made into wallpapers, which is cool because you can put them right on your screens. Really, really cool. But like I said in the video, when I look at this rock, I go, man, that is just cool, man. Look at this. This is awesome. It still has an ominous look to it, does it not? Guys, look at this. It's like it looks at you and says, I'll kill you kind of attitude. Look at this thing. It's crazy looking. But, what do you expect from a rock out in space, right? Pelagic 6 says, history repeats itself, they say. Absolutely. And like I said, how do we know we don't know the reason why somebody would build something on a rock unless, again, if you mined it, I guess you could do that. Meaning, if you have a spaceship, you could just fly back and forth to, once you mine it, grab what you're mining and then go. I don't know why. I guess they could because it could be even NASA's doing this right now. They're finding some of these minerals and stuff like that on some of these rocks. So it's a very good possibility that they'll do the same, but they're thinking about Mars, right? Helium-3, things like that. But if they go to some of these rocks, some of them are made out of like a diamond. So they can literally just like mine the thing and they've got these, these rocks and stuff. The only reason why I'd mine something like that if it was more like a dilithium crystal where you'd have a purpose other than being it's going to be worth some money. Who cares? But that's what it's all about, right? When it comes right down to it. Me personally, I don't know. I think it could be something more along the lines of a civilization. And for whatever reason they built on there, again, maybe their planet was almost ready. It was ready to die off, and their last-ditch effort was to build on this thing and hope for the best. And like I said, maybe they have their own way of making their own food, and they don't have to worry about it. I don't know. It's all a mystery if you think about it. Pat, you said, I bet there's lots of gold there. Yeah, I don't even know what it's made up of. I'm not sure they said a whole lot about what it's made of. Something you'd have to check back into. But either way, I think it's really crazy because it's whatever's here. And whatever this is here, I'm not even sure. Like I said in the video, there's multiple things sitting right here. And when you look at the original, again, these lines are still there. I can see them right there. And, of course, you got this other object right here. I'm not sure if there's one or two of them because it kind of looks like it kind of flows into one, but, yeah. It almost looks like there's something underneath inside there. Not sure what to even make of that. But these lines are there. These are straight lines, curved lines, so on and so forth. Right inside there. You guys see that? Yeah. Like I said, even if this rock is 100% natural, there's something on that rock. It's as simple as that. Yep, skeptical scientists searching for extraterrestrial. Is this a 70? Yes, it is Comet 67P. in all its glory. And like I said, it's an ominous looking rock. Of course, there's other views of it. Kind of look kind of weird. But like I said, when I look at that thing, this alone, like I said, I studied it again after, and I'm saying, what is this thing? It looks like some kind of weird stone blade standing up on this thing. And I'm not sure if it's part of a larger excuse me. I'm not sure if it's part of a larger structure or it stands by itself. Right there. And again, it's casting this shadow here. So obviously we know which way the sun's coming from here. Michael, I didn't even see you jumping there. Michael Stark's in there. But definitely those are buildings and cities very similar to the layout of our cities. Crazy how NASA hides this stuff in plain sight and every mainstream scientist just goes along with the lies. Yeah, it's like nobody even talks about this, doesn't even think about talking about it. I don't get it. It's right there. Even if we said, all right, the rest of it's bogus, what is that? It's kind of like the one, that monolith that Buzz talked about, right, on Phobos. Mars moon, one of the moons. And he says, yeah, wait until they see the monolith on Phobos. They're going to say, who the heck put that there? So, and again, this is the original, so it's not being put there. It's actually there in the photo. And that's the original right there again. This is enhanced on that side until you get down to here. And then we darken it up. And like I said, we get all kinds of weird stuff here, man. This is just crazy, crazy stuff right there. Just this area alone. And again, this I'm not even sure what to make of this stuff here, but absolutely nuts, man. It's crazy. And I said, we'll be looking at other photos of this. And I'm trying to get a hold of one that has more of a different angle on there and see if we can actually find the same stuff, only at a different angle. The problem with it is, just like I see a lot of Mars photos, they'll say, well, why don't you find another photo of that same area on a different angle? Sometimes you get lucky and it is pretty much the same stuff. But then most of the time, they've covered up certain areas and it doesn't look anything like one area, but the other area still looks the same. So it's kind of weird how, depending on how they manipulate or censor out that photo for that day or whatever, right? James, you said structure's big time, Chris, man. End of story. Again, thanks for your support, James. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I don't, I try to show people the original as well as that, so people don't, think, oh, he's putting lines in there. No, absolutely not. Again, original. All I do is, like I said, just brighten up these, what look like these stone kind of cornering coming down like this here. And then, of course, we have what looks like these, somebody call them like they were like gun turrets or something like that, but these things are coming out of this area right there. But just, like I said, anything that was lighter, like this here, 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 and then all these other, like I said, these stones here. And then these, what look like these, I call them pipes because that's what they kind of look like, the end of pipes. And then the fact that they have these overhangs right here. And then look at these pieces right here at the top of this when you enhance it. Sharpen it up a little bit. And then bring up the other brightness of these areas. That's what you get. Look at the top here. This looks like it actually has something coming out like this. And it's going way back into this. You see that white part right there. Just barely make out the whited areas back here. But that's just crazy. That's not something you should see on a rock. Not something that's just hurling through space at X amount of thousands of miles an hour. You should not see that. Yeah, a lot of people have seen that. Yeah, skeptical scientists searching for extraterrestrials said, look at that weird face of an extraterrestrial on the top of the column. See, I don't see that. Now, I don't know if you're talking about this one here, which could actually look like that, this right here. But what I saw was, if you look at this carefully, let me zoom right into this. It almost looks like it has this weird door type thing on it. Like it could come down like this and go like this. And then actually open. I'm not saying it will. But it just has that weird look to it. You know? It also has something that looks like a recessed area and something sticking out of it right here. But I think I can see why you would think that, because actually, wait a minute. I'm looking at this now. Check this out. I didn't even notice this the first time. Here, something right there. Here, 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 here. I didn't even notice that the first time. See them? There's one there. Here. Here. All these little dots going right down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And bring it up. Sharpen it a little bit. Yeah, not natural. Simple as that. This thing here kind of puzzled me because I didn't know whether this was doing this. Looked like it was doing this, and then it was almost the same on this side. And it would look like, and I said this in the video, does this. Comes around. Almost looks like it has a separation. Almost like this could be some kind of weird little craft. But then I looked at it again after making this video and watching it again. It looks like it's doing this. And this is like an overhang type thing. Do you guys see that? It depends on how your eyes see this. And that's what I was seeing then. I'm like, what could that be? Get rid of the sharpness here. Back out just a little bit. Bring up the other whiter areas. Juxtabilly, you said, Chris, when you said that the comet could be their planet, well, I got thinking, what if they figured out that the comet is the best way to travel throughout the galaxy? Well, I guess it's supposed to be only be in our own solar system, but how do we know, like you just said, and I've said this earlier, how do we know that they don't go from, they just go in our solar system and go to another solar system? So we don't know. Now, if it's only in our solar system, maybe, again, they found the best way to do this is make this like a planet, because think about it, it still goes around our sun like all of our planets do. So it could be like an artificial planet, and it still goes around our sun and has its own orbit. I don't know. Again, just speculation, you know. All right, Mimi, have yourself a good evening. Much love to you. You said, I'm taking off here. Good night, friends. Sleep well and stay safe. Good night. Good night, Mimi. Have yourself a good one. Thanks for being here, as always. And you and the family be safe there, right? Let me jump back down here. Kurt Abanas, that makes me remember Thundercat's home. Yeah. George Mayer, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. He said lots of destroyed craft and decayed bodies everywhere. See, you know, I'm thinking, I don't know how big these objects are, but again, if we were to go back like this, of course, we're not seeing the whole thing. But if we were to do this, this is one end, and this is the other end. Of course, we can't see the other side of that end. But let's suppose from here, from that end to this end, is supposed to be 2.7 miles. That's good size rock, and a lot could be put on this. So I don't know. You know, it's anyone's guess, but that's good size for anything to be living on it as far as I'm concerned. And what we can see is a bunch of, you know, these what looks like structures. Here's a weird thing, too. I've often said this. I thought about it. What if, like, we were the giants they spoke of in the past, and that everything other than us was actually a lot smaller? You know, how many more structures could you put on this rock? So you say, 2 miles, that's quite a bit. If you were to take a swath of an area, let's go, if you go to Google Earth, and then narrow down an area of New York City or anywhere in the United States or the world, and bring it down to a 2-mile radius, how many structures could you get in that area? Quite a bit. Ricardo Petrazzi, I'll get it out. Thank you, sir, for your support. He said, James Cragen might be rubbing shoulders with the Olympic gold winning athletes, but Chris is a gold medalist anomaly hunter. Much appreciated, brother. I appreciate that. And I do appreciate the support. But yeah, that's cool that he's got a friend that's like that. Olympic gold winner. That's pretty sweet. Thanks again, Ricardo. James, he's just answering him. Ricardo Pedrazi, spot on, my friend. Well said. And again, James, thank you as well. Jay McGuffey, cool as fook. Great for all says NASA probably wishes they could just stop releasing pictures, but that would be way too suspicious. Yeah, and you know as well as I do. I mean, I get this question a million times. I should actually put this and make it into a paragraph and just paste it every time somebody asks. Oh, if they wanted to hide it, why would they just not do that? Why would they just not show it at all? Oh my God! If I heard that, if I had a dollar bill for every time I heard that comment or had that question, I'd be a millionaire by now. Again, we are not the first people to see these photos. They're NASA scientists. Other scientists maybe from other space agencies. There's scientists and geologists and all these other people that work for these space agencies. They have to see it first. Then, first and foremost, they actually have to put these photos out because the people that are giving these people the money want to see results. So they have to bring them out, but that doesn't mean they can't bring them out and have them censored. So we're not the first ones to see these things. We are just, just give them to the public, make them, feel nice that their money's going somewhere. So when the people that give them money, whether it's Congress, whoever it may be, give them the money, they have to show results. It's kind of like your employer paying you money. They want to see results out of you or else your history. So they won't fund them unless they show photos and progress. So, it's as simple as that. Now, some people say, well, what about Mars? I mean, they could have just showed an empty area here on Earth, like some kind of desert, and, that has no cactus or any of the stuff like that, and just put a purple filter. Sure, they could do that. Sure. But not the things that we are seeing in these photos. I don't believe that's the case. Because you're going to do everything you can. If you're that smart and you want to try to hide the fact, then you do everything you could to hide any artifacts, and that's what they're doing. And if they were from Earth, they could easily go to any, desolate anywhere, desert, and just say, okay, just take out the cactus and just show them the photo. And there you go. But that's not true because we're actually seeing artifacts in there that look intelligently made. That tells me that they're hiding it because it's something you should not be seeing, and it's from Mars. If it was from Earth, they can easily take a photo here and not have to block out anything other than put maybe a slight blur around that particular cactus, or just take an area that has no trees, nothing there, no living anything, and just rocks and boulders and simply take a photo. And that's not the case. They're not doing that. So, but I get that a lot. I wish I had a dollar for every time I had to answer that question. Jay, what do you think the next tetanus jab will be? LOL. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Kurt Abanis, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie, so I'm trying to remember what exactly in the movie they were talking about, because you said they could send us a ship there like in the Life Force movie. Yep, new chaotic order. Natural immunity is better. All right, let me see here. Largest known comet is heading close enough to us to become visible. Yeah. Astronomers have discovered the largest known comet, and it's about 1,000 times more massive than others. Comet Bernstein, so named because it was found by the University of Pennsylvania, Department of Physics, and astronomy graduate student Pedro Bernardinelli and Professor Gary Bernstein, and in between 62 to 124 miles, or 100 to 200 kilometers across. The team announced the discovery in June. This unusual comet will make its closest approach to our sun in 2031, but you'll likely need a large amateur telescope to see it. So pretty interesting, and thankfully it's not going to slam this planet because it's been lights out, and that'd be the end of that. Yeah, that would be crazy. The giant comet, also known as C/2014 UN 271, is from the outskirts of our solar system and has been making its way toward our sun for millions of years. This is also the most distant comet to be discovered on its inbound journey, which will provide scientists a chance to observe and study it for years to come. Now, what happens if it comes near our sun and it slingshots around it because of its gravitational pull? What happens if it comes into this solar system? Then what? Good knowing you all. Now, this is not what do you call it? Fear-mongering. But it does make you think, though, if it is coming towards our sun and somehow it gets pulled in and then it just slingshots into our solar system, then what? Jay, it'll fizz like an Alka-Seltzer. So yeah, pretty much. Ricardo, you're right. He said, still finding new objects all the time. See, now they're looking for this stuff more and more and more. So now they're starting to see this. And I think they know that we're so delicate. This balance on this planet is so delicate that it wouldn't take nothing to completely wipe our civilization completely out. What do you guys think? I think that's absolutely true. So this is the reason why the big push to get to Mars or whatever we can do, like have a little, maybe a civilization on the moon. You can just bring food and stuff like that. Of course, it had to be something small. Especially if it's some kind of mining operation. But we want to have two places, at least in our area, to have life. So if something hits the Earth and pretty much kills it off, well, guess what? Civilization still lives on. The human being still lives on. And, well, that's it. But if you're just on one, yeah, you're pretty much dead. Yeah. So pristine interstellar comet came from the system containing giant planets. Since we're a team based all around the world, it just happened that it was my afternoon while the other folks were asleep. The first image had the comet obscured by a satellite streak, and my heart sank. But the others were clear enough, and gosh, there it was. Definitely a beautiful little fuzzy dot, not at all crisp like the neighboring stars, said Michael, astronomer at the University of Canterbury of New Zealand, in a statement. So, yeah, the comet's journey started over 3.7 trillion miles, 6 trillion kilometers away from the sun, or 40,000 astronomical units. The distance between Earth and the sun is 1 astronomical unit. So you get the idea, 40,000 of that. For reference, it says, for reference, Pluto is 39 astronomical units from the sun. So, yeah. The comet came from the Oort cloud of objects, an isolated group of icy objects that are more distant than anything else in our solar system. Scientists believe this was where comets came from, but they have never actually observed an object within the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is located between 2,000 and 100,000 astronomical units from the sun. Eventually, NASA spacecraft like Voyager 1 and 2, as well as New Horizons, will reach the Oort cloud, but by the time they do, their power sources will have been dead for centuries. Hence the reason why they're probably trying to figure out any way they can to, get different propulsion systems and stuff like that. Send the craft wherever they want it to go, right? One year after launch, NASA's Perseverance rover prepares to collect its first sample on Mars. Which is pretty cool. Watch NASA's Mars helicopter Ingenuity explore intriguing raised ridges in a new video. Interesting. Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff on here. Let's see. Watch NASA's Mars helicopter Ingenuity make its... Let me see here. Oh, yeah. I think it said it's flown a mile so far. Total. Has to raise ridges, I guess it was talking about. Then it decided to go back. I like that right there. You guys see that? I mean, that was as plain as day, guys. Let me see here. Watch this. Right here, starting right from the bottom, looks like a pathway. You guys see this? Watch as it goes along. Look at this. Like a pathway all along here. And you can see what looks like a semicircle right here at the edge of this. Got a weird rock here at the top of the screen. Looks like there's a rock on top of a rock, which is not, you know, hard to believe, but it almost looks like some kind of pathway. And this thing's going to land. You can see it almost looks like I said, like a pathway going straight through this, all the way down past this bottom of the screen. See it? It's still going all the way here. What the heck does that, folks? Yeah. From way down here to the bottom, all the way up here through the top of the photo or video. You guys think of that? James, he said, Chris, just going off track for a second. In order to get into a pub or restaurant in Ireland, now you have to give more information that you would a lawman. Yeah, I'm not even surprised now. Not even a bit surprised, James. Again, thanks for your support, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even surprised when it comes to that stuff. It's getting crazier and crazier, right? Yeah, I find this very interesting how it has this pathway. Saying, oh, it's a ridge. Looks like a pathway to me. Where's that at? 132? Trying to see what's in there. See that little foot landed right here at the top. Actually, it's not quite there. It just lands right about. Well, it doesn't even show like it when it completely landed. Because the feet and the shadows are still there. Imagine that. Yeah. Josh, he said nearly 2 a.m. Here, sadly bedtime. Love you all to a frickin' bit and good until next time. Thank you so much, Chris. All right, Josh, thanks for being here, brother. I'm glad you were here. Good to see you here as always. Thanks for the support. Have yourself a good night and a good weekend there, right? Doug Parker says an article in Astronomy Now says that Jupiter only took 700,000 years to get its current location. To its current location. I don't think I've read that. Interesting. John Sharp, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Just got back. It's 1 a.m. here. Been driving 7 hours. Oof. Yeah, it's always a nice little trip, isn't it? Gary Milley said our solar system is moving through space, so we could just run into one. That's a very good possibility. John says, hi, Chris. Hi, all. New Chaotic Order said, what makes me question is that he has so many military back up him, Greer, and that may seem like it's more legit, but does it? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I believe a lot of these guys, what they're saying is a lot of truth, and then some of them, like I said, well, truth, but it's also embellished a little bit. But, you know, I think a lot of this stuff is legit, and just how much, though, we don't know, right? We're just taking their word for it. But, yeah, I believe a lot of that is actually, what these guys are actually saying is a lot of stuff is true. I was just going to ask you about that, John. You said, hello, Chris, in my Oldsmobile. I was going to say that. That's probably a good, sweet ride, though, right? Just cruising along. Nothing wrong with that, man. Pat, Earth is known for its plastic production. Yeah, they seem to think too. I mean, don't get me wrong. You see a lot of it in the oceans now, right? It's pollution and it's just devastating. Some of these oceans and the wildlife getting caught in it and stuff like that. Whether it's birds, fish, you name it, seals, whatever, living creatures in the oceans over there. It's just crazy how that's happening. Especially when we're supposed to be recycling this stuff, and clearly we're not. And I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like we're not at all. But on the other side of the token, it's like, couldn't we be doing more? Why does this even end up in the ocean? And it just makes you wonder if these companies are not just throwing this stuff in the ocean because they're like, well, we don't have the room or the time to actually recycle this stuff. So therefore, boom, there you go, right? What's going on there, Taft Baker? Been a while since I've seen you there, man. Glad to see you. Getting high. Yeah, Emma Bowman. Yeah, he said oceans now make me so sad. Yeah, because I mean, what we're doing to these oceans is sad. It's really, you think we'd be a little less, or well, we could say more caring and less, just destructive. If you ever well, probably a lot of you guys don't listen to hard rock, but if you listen to the group Disturbed, Another Way to Die, Just Another Way to Die, really good video, and the graphics in here. Just watch the video. And really good tune to begin with. But when you watch the video, it's like, boom, solid, just raw truth. And it's talking about species and how, we're just basically killing them every day. And some of them just die off automatically. But if you watch the video, like I said, Another Way to Die from Disturbed, yeah, just watch that. It'll give you an idea just what we're doing to this planet, how just non-caring we really are. Kenneth, he said, we will soon have problems leaving the Earth. A large number of satellites will be sent into orbit, I guess you're saying for the internet, and they will lay in large numbers like a shield around the Earth and cause problems. Well, I mean, they're going to be mostly around the equatorial region, right? And so a lot of these spacecrafts will go up closer towards the north, like the poles and stuff, and then they go out into space. And a lot of times you'll see them come out, spaceships, well, when I say spaceships, our spacecraft, when they go up, you always see them go like this, like an arch. Well, what they're doing is they're going up. People just think they go straight up and out into space. That's not how it works. They literally come up. Let's say we want to go to the moon. We'll come up. You'll see them take off, and then they kind of do this. They bend. People go, oh, it's all fake. They're going right back into the ocean. No, that's not what's happening. What they're doing is they're coming up and going, once they go out and they rotate, they go around the Earth a couple of times to build up speed and then slingshot to the moon. That's why those are there. That's why they do it. People just think, why aren't they just flying straight into space? Because that's not how it operates. It's not how it works. We get some speed up and then slingshot and off into either going towards Mars or going towards the moon. Oliver Klein, he said, hello, Chris. Ongoing writing in your chat. I got some new footage and infos for you following up to the last. Awesome. I don't know if you sent that to my email or what you sent that to, but interesting. In fact, I haven't even checked my email. It's been a while because I've had, like I said, I was on vacation last week. I should take another 2 or 3 of them. That would be great. Don't we wish we could all do that? But, yeah, I mean, it's like I haven't really looked at too much of that. Only because it's like I said, I was on vacation. It's like, I don't want to hear nothing. I said, I don't want to hear my job. I don't want to hear nothing about anything. Just go. But yeah, I'll be definitely checking that stuff out too. Let's see. Oliver, you said, yeah, that's what's happening to rockets. Yep. Pat, I am Plastic Man. Not Iron Man, but Plastic Man, right? Yeah, which is really scary, huh, Raquel? You said they have found plastic in human embryos. That's just weird. That is weird. I've never heard of that, to be truthful with you. John, I don't know if you're talking about me. You said, what's the email? Oh, where did you go? Are you talking about me or somebody else? Pat, I know a lot of women with plastic chests. Not good. Not good. Let's see. John, you said, did you buy a new hat? No, I was just saying what I have. The same gray one. Oh, it's just American Eagle type thing. Same thing. Usually wear this one or the Mars one or the Florida one. One or two. Got the Mars shirt here. I don't know if you guys go to the malls in your area, but if you go to the FYE stores, you got these Mars shirts, and these are pretty sweet. That's pretty cool. I said, I'm going to grab one of those bad boys. Like I said, when I was in Florida, I said, well, we went to the mall, grabbed a few things we needed. And I said, well, it's a pretty cool shirt. They even have one for JAXA, the Japanese space agency. I was like, I was going to grab one of those too. But I said, no big deal. Emma Bowman, you said, can you show us your best Mars evidence? I'd love to see the best of the best. I'm trying to remember exactly how it's titled. I've got some of them I've shown on here where it's between the moon just bringing up exposure and it's like mile high. You can look up mile high structures on the moon or miles high structures on the moon. And I've got the smoke and gun video. It's on Mars. And what looks like vehicles like being washed down a hill. That's what they look like. Now, whether they are or not, I don't know. But everybody I've asked in the past, I'd say, hey, let me ask you a question. Like I said, I've actually had, and I don't have them here now. I remember I took them out of here. But I had photos. I printed them out, brought them into my other job. And I said, I'm going to show you a photo. Black and white. Didn't tell him where it was at. I said, but I got a black and white photo I want to show you, and I want you to tell me what you think this is. So I give it to him, and he's looking at it. And this is my ex-boss, right? He's looking at it, he goes, he kind of chuckled. I said, what are you laughing at? I said, oh, by the way, before you answer the question, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay. He's looking at it, he says, heck, if I didn't know any better, I look like an army jeep. I said, exactly what I thought. And you're not the first one to say that. He's like, what? I said, by the way, guess where that's at? So I'm not sure. I said, Mars. He went, what? No way. I said, this was taken by Opportunity Rover. And he said, no way. And there's more than one there. There's another one up on the top of the hill. It looks like side windows, like this vehicle's buried halfway up. It's just weird. Now, whether these things are or not, I don't know. But that's what they look like. But you can look those videos up, and it's actually got some pretty cool stuff in there, Emma. Like I said, just look up, Emma, you said the moon is the ultimate. Just look up the miles-high structures found on the moon. And all I do is just bring up, like, the exposure on there. Went through a couple of the areas. It looked like two structures standing up, and they're really large. They're next to a crater that's 40 miles in diameter, at least across, right? And on the back side of the photo, there's what looks like a two-story structure, a very large structure, that it's just a framework to it. And all I do is just bring up the framework as far as the brightness, because it's kind of white, so I just made it whiter to bring it and pop it, and just cool stuff. And this is the stuff, everything from, I found what looked like giant, like spacecraft sitting on walls of craters. Oh, just weird stuff, man. It's like, clearly that's not natural, so what is it? Even if we don't know what it is and we're simply guessing at it, because we can only speculate. It's not like we can go there and see it, right, and pick it up and go, oh, well, that's a drink, so we know what that is. We can't do that. So all we can do is be speculative, but it's not natural. So your question is it natural or is it not? And two, why is it on the moon or why is it on Mars? So, that's what I usually go by, right? Goes from Vermont Urbex. He's like, can they blur out footage from the helicopter? Sure, because they can just take every screen and do it. Every part of that video, every screenshot, because it's basically just frames, right? So just go ahead and delete it out if they had to. Yeah, that one too, Ricardo. Did Wikipedia make a mistake? That's another good video where it's like they posted this photo, and when you zoom into it, you can see all kinds of what look like structures and all kinds of crazy things on there. IR Film said, great show, Chris. See you again soon. Cheers. All right, man. Thanks for being here. Much appreciated. And we're going to be doing the same thing, guys. We're going to be jumping off this thing because after Elaine was talking about food, I'm famished. I don't know about you folks, but I'm like, yeah. So maybe a small snack, maybe like a rack of lamb. No, I'm just kidding. But a little snack maybe. But as always, guys, just a great another hangout. It's just awesome. I was glad, like I said, when I came back from put that over here. When I came back from, being on vacation and stuff like that, I was like, man, I can't wait for like the week to end so I can get on here. Because I just like, spending time on here and just getting away from the regular crap that we normally see on TV. I don't know about you folks, but I barely watch TV. Do you guys watch any TV? I try not to. Between the commercials, which is retarded, and, it's like because, hey, have you found a good lawyer lately? I mean, it's just crazy how much they show in here. How much, wow. I was down south and I had and they had like in their local news, every commercial, I'm not even lying to you, was lawyers. I said, listen, I understand if you need a good lawyer. That's cool to be able to find that like that. Because, they literally beat it into your skull. Oh, try 1-800-SUE-EVERYBODY kind of thing. It's like, I'm tired of hearing it, man. I'm just so up and done. So I just, went to like, just casted my own stuff on there. I just watch movies and stuff. But, wow, it's insane. Even locally here, it's like, that's all you hear about. So, yeah. But, yeah, I was glad to come back and be able to, I didn't want to come back to work and be here, but I mean, other than that, it was just good to be able to think, I'm looking forward to the end of the week, be sweet, out to work tomorrow, it won't be a very long day, have the afternoon and Saturday, just one day on Sunday, just to be able to chill, relax, it's nice. So, and drink up, Shriners. No, I'm kidding. But, so, it's cool to just be able to just get together with you guys as always. James, thanks again for your support, man. I do appreciate you, brother. He said, Chris, there's a law that the English government are trying to get passed into law very soon. It's about total annihilation of freedom of speech. Oh, that's been going on for years. Any way they can stifle you, they're going to try it. You know that as well as I do. That's just the way they are. You know how that goes. So, let me see. I Rage, you said, your last video inspired me, and I downloaded some NASA lunar orbital photos. One of them overlooked a couple of areas and did not fully hide some machinery. Oh, you're going to find some crazy things, Rage. Trust me when I tell you. If you have Photoshop, all you have to do is just bring back, just adjust your contrast. A lot of those have been sanitized. You'll see like the area is really, really white. If you're seeing like the LRO C photos, which is the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter camera, if you see those really kind of whitewash photos, just bring the brightness down a little bit, bring your contrast up, and you'll start to see these shapes pop out. Crazy, crazy stuff. And you just don't know what you're going to find in there. Mags, I think you got off there as well. You're getting off there. Thanks for being here. Always appreciate it. It says, bowing out, guys. Knackered after 2 days with my beautiful, oh, that's awesome. Granddaughter, need sleep. Thanks, Chris. Good news, another on the way. Oh, wow, cool. Congratulations. All right, Mags, thanks for being here. Much love to you, and have yourself a great weekend there, right? So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to jump off of this thing. Always a pleasure having you guys on here and talking with everybody, having a great time. And we're going to be changing it up a little bit here on this channel, trying to get a little bit different flavor. I'm trying to bounce around. You guys can always give me like suggestions too. I'm trying to bounce around where it's not just strictly Mars. We want to do the moon, and different other subjects as well. I'd like to have anybody who's got like real UFO footage, because you know how that is nowadays. It's kind of like, you don't know whether to believe it's true or not, but, I'd be willing to put those videos on here. Obviously, get your okay to do that. Do stuff like that. I'd be down to do stuff like that. So want to try to go into different things if we can, and change up maybe the flavor of the channel a little bit. Dabble in a little bit here and there. But either way, I mean, I love looking at these Martian photos, the moon photos, because you just don't know what you're going to find in here. And now we got curiosity, we got, perseverance, and just different other things, which is just cool. And it's kind of like a Cracker Jack box. You just don't know what you're going to find in there, right? So that's what makes it intriguing. Even if you go, oh, it's another Mars photo. It's awesome because you don't know what you're going to find in it. And some of the things we find might be just small, minuscule little things. Some right up to like really large things, which we did like in the last Mars video, where it looks like structures all along the area where, some of these, either China's been, obviously Perseverance. You just don't know. These things are just popping out of everywhere. And it just proves that they didn't just land down in these spots just like I said, close their eyes and threw a dot. They literally know what they were doing. They knew exactly what they're doing when they did it. So you just don't know what you're going to find in these. This is why I say everything to me is important. Moon, Mars, whether it be talking about 67P or other rocks, because I've done Bennu, and I forgot the name of the other one. But there's just so much stuff to see. I think all of it's intriguing because it puts all the pieces together. And that's what we want, right? So that's what it's all about. Hey, we didn't even hit 200 thumbs up. Damn. It's like 178. If you guys haven't hit it yet, go ahead and hit it for me. And I noticed they've been messing around with these numbers because I never have this low watching now. It's like 150. It's always over 200, at least that. It's like 230, 250. And I noticed the numbers doing this, yo-yoing. So, yeah, they're back to playing games again. And that's fine. You know what I mean? Because I know you people are still seeing the photos and the videos anyway. So that's what it's all about to me. So I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm glad that we spend time together as always. You guys are the best. Much love to all of you. The support is amazing, whether it's verbal, monetized, whatever. It doesn't matter. And like I said, I try to make it easy. I probably get at least 2 people during the week or something like that asking me, how can I support the channel? And that's why I try to put that up there too. I got that pinned at the top of the chat here. As far as PayPal, you can make it easier, if it just, you don't want to go through some people, I don't know why, it gives them crap here on this box on the bottom where it says you can actually, I clicked on it, for some reason it's not working right, so I made it easier, just put like a PayPal thing at the top, so if they want to give, it's greatly appreciated. And at some point, and I'm going to be truthful with you guys, I don't know if I might be doing this 24/7 because the job is just, wow. You swear you're working with adults, but you just find it hard to believe that, it's almost like every place you go down, I'm sure some of you guys will confirm this, that there's like children everywhere. They're like grown-up children. So I don't know if I'd want to call them grown-ups, but at some point, who knows, I may be doing this full-time. I don't know. And but at this point, the support is great, but you're like looking at income-wise. So, it's not like you're making a ton of money off this. Unless, you got like 1 million subscribers, you're going to be making some bank. But other than that, not small fish like me. Though I'm not the smallest fish on the planet, but that's not the point. You get my drift. So it's kind of like, you want to, but you don't. Because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot in the process. Ricardo Petrozzi, thank you very much for your support, sir. As always, you said, I love all the various ideas people bring to the discussion here, and I like to look up info on the fly and post answers when I can. The conversation here is brilliant. Thank you all. Well, thank you, Ricardo. It's you people that make this up, right? I've said this a million times. You are the people that make the channel. So, and I love that, every aspect of that, because, it's one thing for the support, but it's another thing to have, to have interesting conversations, because I learned something new. It's like sometimes you guys say something, I'll go, I never even heard of that. So you learn something new every day, and I love to learn new things. Even if you check into it and you find out not so great information, it's not the point. You're still broadening your mind somehow, and that's what it's all about. If you haven't learned something new today, you stop growing. It's as simple as that. So it's all about a learning curve for everybody here, and that's what I think is interesting about here. We can actually all get together and, just get together and just have these conversations. And we can share different things on here, and, I try to bring different things. Like I said, if anybody's got suggestions, they want to do other things, let me know. Some things I have checked into. Some people, in fact, I think somebody asked me earlier, hey, did you check out, what do you call it, Venus? I have done video on Venus, I think. And it's not like there's a lot of photos to be able to deal with. They're either CGI'd or some kind of crap going on with them, but I'll check into that again. And I'm almost positive I've done a video on there. I could be wrong, but I've done a lot on a lot of these planets, moons, and stuff like that. Not a lot of moons, but like Ganymede, so on and so forth, like our own, satellite, our moon. So, yeah. Thank you again, James, too, for your support. You guys are awesome. He said, Ricardo, he's talking to Petrozzi, Ricardo Petrozzi. Me too, my friend, Chris, and the great people here tonight and every night, top of the range. Yeah, like I said, I've been in other, I've been into other chats and stuff like that, and I think this is one of the best chats. And I'm not blowing my own horn here. I mean, the thing is, it's like, I've seen other chats. I see people fighting in other ones. People dogging the people in the videos and stuff like that. I mean, you get the occasional person in it, but who cares? I mean, it's like, if they feel that they're causing corruption and everything else and causing hate and discontent, let them do it. I don't care. It's not going to ruin my day, not by any stretch of the means. I know it's not going to stumble you guys in any way. You guys don't care. We're just here to have a conversation. They want to act a fool, let them act a fool. I don't care. We're not here for that, and I don't care what they got to say about me. I could care less. So that's what makes it great. We just do our thing and just have a great day. So, and with that, guys, I'm going to let you go, and it's what? We'll call it 8:18 my time, Eastern time. So I'll wait until about 8:30 to cut the feed. You guys can enjoy a little bit more talk. And again, much love to you guys. I don't care who it is. You guys are awesome. I love the idea of, again, we can get together and do this. So, like I said, it's a change from the norm. With all the crap going on and all the BS going on in the world, it's good to be able to say, listen, I just want to shut it out. I want to be able to come in here and have a conversation, which I like. How many times, let me ask you this real quick, guys. And I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. How many times, if you guys are into it like I am, like whether it's sci-fi itself or science itself, how long does a conversation last with maybe the average person? Let's say the average person Let's say you sit down and there's a bunch of other people talking, and they're talking about something totally different what you're interested in. How long does a conversation last before your eyes get glazed over like, oh, somebody kill me? Be honest. How many times? James, thanks again. You said, I forgot to say a cloth for the CGI boys. They definitely need it, guys. Definitely need it. Appreciate it. 220 in Kosovo. That ain't too bad there. Equalizer, good to see you in there, by the way. Must have just popped in there. Yes. Jerry, perfect way to say it. We are Chris's addiction. I think everybody's got that kind of addiction, right? You just want to, I think it's because everybody wants to be able to talk with like-minded people. It's like if you get into, like people here, I don't mind normal talk. In other words, like a lot of people around here are country folk. There's nothing wrong with that. I like the idea of that. But they're going in there and they're talking about their four-wheelers and they're going out hunting and everything. And I'll go, okay, but to talk about it 24/7, you know what I mean? I don't mind jumping on the four-wheeler, going through the mountains and have a great time. And but then, okay, but that's not me. It's like, that's not my first thing to think about. To me, it's just sci-fi and, just science itself. Just everything about it. And just I eat, sleep, and crap it. So, yeah. So, what did this one just say? Diane Schroeder says, Chris, thank you for this awesome hangout and have yourself a good night, day, whatever. I'll see you next time. Ooh, oh, sorry about that. Just hit the microphone. Boom. Especially if you guys got a subwoofer on your speakers. Thank you, Diane. I do appreciate you. Much love to you. And everybody else, Arts and Crafts. You said, thank you, Chris. Good night, everyone. Take care, Arts and Crafts. Have yourself a good night. Pete's Vlogs, good to see you in there. You said you're late. Yeah, we're just actually closing this out now. Emma Bowen, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it. Your question was, where can I send you my UFO vids? You can send it to marsanomalies@aol.com, and I'll be glad to check them out. Like I said, I will check them out. I've had people, I'm going to be truthful. I had a couple of people send me videos, and you're going, these are so bogus. I mean, you could just tell that they were CGI'd of some sort. And some of them, no, they're unexplainable, right? So I'll be more than happy to check it out, Emma. Please do so, and thank you very much. Noodles, he said like a number 198. Yeah, I think you're talking about the Hangout, or was it? I'm talking not Hangout. What was that? What were we talking about here? Let me see something here. Oh, maybe I'm just reading the wrong thing here. Either way it works. Jay McGuffey said, night Chris, night all. Have a top weekend. You do the same. Jay, I appreciate that. Michael Stock, I like that. 2 minutes AOL. And we're talking about how you get glazed over when you hear other conversations. Non-red pilled, unawake people. Check out super fast. Very sad, but that's on them. Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes you're listening to the conversation. You're hoping somebody will break into like, hey, what do you guys think about that new space rover? Or, you know what I mean? So they'll come out with something like that, like the one that's on Mars. And you're like, yeah, because you know, you want to fill them in with like a billion, like information and cram it all into like 30 seconds all at once, like to diarrhea of the mouth, right? So, yeah, I think it's pretty funny because it's like, but other than that, I just get glazed over like, oh my God, can we talk about something else? I mean, I'm just being truthful, you know? It's kind of like a person who's a wrench head, you know, like I love to wrench on cars and stuff like that. When people start talking about that, boom, I'm in the conversation like there's no tomorrow. Yeah, what about that 650 double pumper I had to put on that Edelbrock? Oh, yeah, man, we're just like all open it and double feed, you know, 750 double, you know, it's just great. But they start talking about, yeah, so I was in the farm yesterday and I was picking up some hay. I'm going, and, you know, I'm just like, oh, sorry, I'm just dozing off. Oh, yeah. Yep, up to the 198 thumbs up, guys. Who's going to hit 200 over? Noodles is asking the same thing. Who will be like number 200? That's what you were talking about earlier. I don't know why I thought you were talking about something that somebody had commented, and I thought it was towards me or something. So that was my bad on that. Emma, you said they were taken through my telescope via cam on phone. Not the best, all I could do at the time. Oh, that's cool. I'd be willing to check it out, Emma. I appreciate that. Noodles, purple pill is best. Now, is that the purple microdot, or is that... Claire Mead, know the feeling well. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? Anyway, folks, I'm going to let you guys go. Like I said, we get another... What do you guys think? Maybe 8:35. I'll let the feed stay on. You folks have a great night. Thanks for all you guys being here. Much love to every one of you guys. Thank you for the great support. You guys are awesome. Be kind, be healthy, be safe, and have a great weekend. Foremost, with your family. That's what it's all about, right? Everything else is secondary. I've always said that family's first, and you guys are like my secondary family. Everything else is nothing. But anyway, everybody have yourself a good one. Be safe. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.